Hi, this is a sports show from San Francisco and the Moscone, I can say that wrong every day, Moscone Convention Center. Mark Kiszla, I'm Woody Paige. We'll be with you for the next hour and then take a little break. We'll be with you for another 2 hours. Our last day of the sports show this week. And how are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing dandy. How about you, Woody?
Well, my thing's not high enough, I don't think. Let me see. That's better. That's good. So, you're the man that actually is in charge of technology. You know what you're doing. I don't know what to do. Let's start the program. Let's get it hot and going right away. Mark Kiszla, Woody Paige. The sports show is presented by the Denver Post and all of our great sponsors. And I'm so excited that Ken Lanier is with us because he is of my – no, I don't want to say that. My era.
He looks a lot younger than you.
That's why I'm so sorry. That is such a terrible thing. Ken played on great teams a little while ago.
Just a tad, not too long ago.
Ken was before you were in Denver.
Correct.
He was the block. He was the man on the right side. He was the best. Claudie Miner.
Thanks, Gary. Claudie broke me in, showed me the ropes when I first got here.
Claudie Miner and you are two of the, I hate to say this for offensive linemen, two of the nicest men I ever met. I mean, really, people think of, these blocks of granite and guys that are dumb and strong and big and weighty. Claudie Miner's been working in mining forever, and I still see him every once in a while. I don't get to see you, but you're wearing your Broncos today. What are you doing these days?
Oh, these days, right now, I'm managing a self-storage unit. It's called 225 self-storage off of Mississippi and 225. And also, I'm working with Premier Stem Cell, where we're doing stem cell, getting to some of the older players and some of the younger players, and what they do is they take the stem cell out of your back, bone marrow. Yeah. They spin it, separate the cells, and then they inject it back into the sites as far as your knees, ankles, or shoulder. So, and they also do it intravenously too.
What was your first year in the league?
My first year was 1981.
Okay. Well, now I got to do the math.
Don't go there.
No. But over 30 years, the growth of the Super Bowl in this event in that amount of time, or the growth of the NFL, I mean, does it blow your mind, or is this what you saw when you came in the league?
You never see it, but, you have to progress with the way engineering and technology is. So it is feasible. I mean, some of the things that they go through, how big everything has become, a production and everything.
Well, we're talking about big. Cam Newton, quarterback for the Panthers, 6'6", 260.
260.
When your first year in the league, how many Broncos were that big? And here's a dude now in 2016 playing quarterback at 6'6", 260.
I mean, it just goes to show that, your average offensive lineman is they don't blink an eye at 330 pounds.
Right.
And they can run 4.8s, 4.6,
But we have to mention that, again, the offensive lines you played on were exceptional. 3 Super Bowls. He played from the early 80s, as we talked about, broke in 81, was trained somewhat by Claudie Miner, even though they didn't play the same position.
Yeah, I mean, Claudie was a right tackle, and then he got moved to left tackle.
Yeah.
And then when I emerged and after he finished training me, basically, we went ahead and I moved to the right, Claudie moved to the left.
Yeah, and there was some incredible players on those teams. We're talking about Keith Bishop, who's now the director of security, came in there. And you guys played on 3 different Super Bowl teams. And 3. We don't want to give the results in case people missed it.
Don't go there. It was just that we were there.
But I got to mention to you, and I was telling somebody yesterday, at the end of the Super Bowl, the championship team is awarded T-shirts and caps. they make them for both teams. I don't know whether you knew that then.
Oh, I do.
And obviously that was the case. They took the Super Bowl championship T-shirts and caps and sent them to third world countries. There are people in third world countries that think you won the Super Bowl 3 times.
That is true. And I also have a picture on my phone of a Wheaties box that's in probably a third world country too. They had John and it had me, the offensive line, on there. And that was the first Super Bowl we went to against the Giants, and we lost that one. So it does happen.
What would it mean to you to see John Elway win the Super Bowl as the man that's basically been the architect of this team?
I mean, it would mean a lot that our team, the Denver Broncos, will win the Super Bowl this weekend for the city, for the Broncos, and then for the players, and then for John and Pat Bowlen. It's a situation that he's worked hard to put this team together and put us in a situation where they can win the Super Bowl.
So what do you got? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that it's our year. We could do it. We need to put together one more game. One more game in the season left, and we have to do it. Our offensive line has to show up. They have to show up and be able to block, run block, pass block. And our receivers are going to have to catch the ball, and our defense is just going to have to play at the level that they've been playing, and then play at another higher level because it's the last game. There's nothing to leave on the table. You got to go ahead and do it.
Is the Alumni Association of the Broncos having some kind of parties while you're here? I'm just wondering what you guys are doing.
It's a situation where, you got the NFLPA, they're having parties. We were at the Gridiron Greats last night, and that was good to see all the different people throughout the leagues. And there's our alumni president is here, and, people are just coming in.
Finally, what's the name of your storage place? People want to come out and see you.
All right, anybody can stop by, get autographs. We should be open in about 2 to 3 weeks, and it's called 225 Self Storage, and it's at Mississippi and I-225.
Makes sense.
It's the old Toys R Us building.
Oh, sure.
So it's an indoor facility.
And you could have called it Mississippi. That's where my family grew up. And how do they get more information? You were talking about stem cell. Is there a website that you know of? Or
it's Premier Stem Cell Institute, and they're off of exit 34, like going to Greeley, about 2 blocks on the right. And we have the stem cell there in Greeley, and we also have one location that's in Dallas, and they opened up another location in Texas, and they're just getting the word out, and they're taking care.
Show people the ring.
That's one of them.
And what I remember about Ken, when I first met him, when he was a great rookie and came in, look at my hands.
It's about the same.
Yeah.
It's great to see you again. Thank you for coming over and agreeing to be with us.
No problem.
We're going to tell you about Elway. You've been there. Speaking of John Elway, Elway Steakhouse in Cherry Creek. Have you not been there?
I have been there.
Yeah. Talk about steaks. We're talking about steaks. That bone-in ribeye. I love the filet. They've got everything from the filet and the bone-in. They make a great cheeseburger. They also have incredible side dishes, super appetizers, and the salads are to die for, really. The Elway chop salad is fantastic. You could also have an intimate dinner on the left side. You can have the fun and excitement on the right side, eat on the patio, in the bar area, have fun, meet your friends. It's a great place. You know it. It's one of the premier steakhouses in the entire country. That's John Elway's Steakhouse. Guys, if you're having sexual problems, I've got a place for you to go. No, it's not one of the massage parlors in San Francisco. What it is Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. One visit can turn your life around, get you in an exciting, romantic situation again. They do PSA testing. They do testosterone testing. They have an experienced medical crew over there to help you whatever health problems you might have. We were talking yesterday with Michael Haynes. You played against him, who is working with prostate cancer and health issues. And if you get the PSA testing, the result of your sexual problems could be major health problems. You want to get it taken care of right away. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. Go to their website, RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one, I can work out like one, I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new PapaJohns.com.
Sports Show with Woody Paige and Mark Kiszla. Let's talk a little HGH. Peyton Manning has hired an investigator to investigate the guy who made the allegations. Why would he do that, and why now? And what's your reaction to that?
Well, we'll clarify that before the report came out, Peyton Manning put together a crisis team.
Right.
Ari Fleischer, political, what would be the word? Animal, but a political man behind the scenes for presidents,
right,
and senators. And I believe that Ari Fleischer said, let's get out in front of this. And so they had investigators, two from what I understand, who posed as police officers and went to Sly's house and said, we're here, and flashed a badge or something, and interviewed him, and that's when he then recanted his statements before the report came out. Now it's all coming out. In the last week or so, it's been that the NFL is going to investigate the allegations against Peyton Manning. He said, bring it on. It's all garbage. I've said it before. It's a big fat nothing. But why in the world, if it's a big fat nothing, would there now be a report from the Washington Post that there was this crisis team put together if it's a big fat nothing?
A crisis team, maybe you want to squash the report. I think that Manning's reaction was over the top. Does that make you feel like he's guilty of something?
Here's what I thought. You say over the top. I think he should have held a press conference rather than meeting with the different reporters and saying it's total garbage. They can come investigate. It was a serious matter because it involved the letters HGH. He should have had a press conference in the auditorium at Dove Valley and addressed all the questions and done it in a serious way. I think this was the Peyton Manning. I'm saying this to somebody knowing. This was the Peyton Manning who was trying to blow it off and thought, I can handle this by calling it garbage, using simple terms. Come after me tonight. Because now the matter is kind of blown up in his face in terms of it's sort of become, as you and I talked about a week or so ago, it's become a big issue, even though he addressed it at media night, said it's a big fat nothing. I now think it's moving into the deflate gate sort of.
The reporters at Roger Goodell's, press conference that he holds every year at the Super Bowl on Friday said, well, if there was so much talk and leaks about Deflategate, why hasn't there been more talk, controversy, comment from the league about this HGH allegation? And Roger Goodell basically said, we're looking into it, and when we have Conclusions, we'll let you know.
Well, do you think there will be any fire where the smoke is?
I'm not sure. Okay, what's my smoke? That a man once said that he had knowledge that this clinic shipped HGH to Peyton Manning's wife, and then he said, "No, I made that up." I mean, that's not much of a source. Now,
well, there's two troubling things, and I'd like this. Peyton Manning and his wife did go to what was an anti-aging clinic.
Right.
Peyton has said the team had recommended that.
Right.
The only part of the original statements, and which were recanted, and I think that he was making up stuff to try and sell illegal goods to athletes, and he was using Peyton Manning and Derek Jeter. He was dropping a lot of names, so I don't believe it. But the one thing that rang true in all of it, they were shipping something to Peyton's wife in Florida, and you know I talked about it before. They have a home in Florida,
right?
So that's the only thing that kind of distresses me, and it distressed me that he should have probably addressed it in a more serious way, in a serious situation.
Okay, well, let's get to the bottom line. Do you think that this controversy has more of an effect on his legacy than whether he wins or loses the Super Bowl 50?
I think it will have the same effect on Peyton Manning that Deflategate had on Tom Brady, that it will be a smudge. But the thing, one of the things about it is it's coming at the end of both of their. I mean, Brady's going to play for 4 or 5 more years, but it's coming late in their careers. In this case, it's being blown up out of proportion, I think, at the very end of his career. And if there was any thought he might have to coming back, I think that's ended. But I think it's become an issue here, which we talked about, and I don't know that it was handled well, and people were going to investigate it deeper, and that's what happened with Deflategate, and it's what's happening with Manninggate, if you will. Mark Kiszla, Woody Paige, we'll continue after I tell you about Siltahar Ford, Siltahar Motors, Siltahar Cadillac. Lincoln has some amazing new products out now. Talking about their SUVs. Their small SUV, the 2016 MKE, has both room for your stuff and great gas mileage. The new 2006 MKX crossover has amazing styling and cutting-edge technology. Both are available at Siltahar Lincoln in Broomfield, right off the Boulder Turnpike, where you'll find friendly people who can really help you out from your first car to your dream car. We'll talk more about Siltahar Motors a bit later. Papa John's 18 Special, available today. Go online, put on your online order, the 18 Special, Broncos 18, and you'll get 2 pizzas, 3 toppings, for only $18. Take advantage of this as you enjoy the weekend leading up to the Super Bowl. Go to the new papajohns.com.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one. I can work out like one. I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
Woody Paige, Mark Kiszla. Let's talk a little Cam Newton. Can the Broncos force Cam into mistakes, interceptions, a fumble, and how do they do that?
Yes, I think so. Cam is quickly becoming, if not already, the face of the NFL. Whether there's some people that don't like him, whatever. His exuberance, his excitement on the football field, his ability to pass, his ability to run, the zone read offense, his ability to get out of trouble and run for touchdowns, doing flips in the end zone, everything about him, the Superman pose, everything about him, the dab. is bigger than life. But the one thing about it is he's playing on the biggest stage of his life. He's played in the junior college championship, won, high school championship, Auburn national title, but he's not played in the Super Bowl. I have seen John Elway, his first time in the Super Bowl. I have seen other quarterbacks, including Manning, but he was later in his career. I just think with this defense that is very aggressive, that has a lot of different concepts that he hasn't seen, even though Eugene Robinson said they played against 3-4 teams all year long. They haven't played against a Wade Phillips 3-4 team because it becomes a 2-8 team. It becomes a 5-1-5 team. I think there will be an interception or two. I think there will be a fumble or two. Agree or not agree?
The thing that appeals to me about Cam is his enthusiasm and how hot he burns, and that he does wear his emotions on his sleeve. But I like all that, and I think he brings excitement to the game. But because he burns so hot, I think the pendulum can swing a little more severely with him. So if the Broncos can find a way to rattle him, I think for a period of 6, 7, 8 minutes in the game, that Cam could lose his composure as a quarterback, and that's the opportunity that the Broncos would need to bounce on.
Do you think that, I'm going to ask you straight out, can he throw as the last two quarterbacks against the Broncos did for 300 yards? Can he run for 100 yards? Can he throw 2 or 3 touchdown passes? Brady threw 1, if I remember correctly. Roethlisberger only had 1 touchdown pass, if I remember correctly. In the San Diego game, Rivers maybe had 1 or 2. I mean, I think they've given up like 3 or 4 touchdown passes.
I think Cam Newton could throw for 300 yards against the Broncos, and I think the Broncos could survive a 300-yard passing game against Cam Newton. If Cam Newton runs for 100 yards, game's over. If he's a dual threat in a major way, the game's over, and Carolina wins the game. So I'm not so worried about what his passing numbers are. I'm more worried about what his rushing numbers will be.
We'll take a break, and we'll come back on the show after I tell you about Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. The number is 720-440-7900. If you want to get back the excitement, exuberance of your sex life, the place to go, and you know you're nervous about it, you know you have problems, you know you want somebody to help you, this is the place to go. One visit really can help you so much. They actually individualize the program so that they can take care of you. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic.com, 720-440-7900.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
Sports Show, Woody Paige and Mark Kiszla. There's analysts that say that Carolina's going to score in the 30s. Is that Super Bowl 48 all over again?
Well, a lot of those, this was ESPN when I was doing research today, that they pulled all of their, quote, football writers. You know, They have Jeff Legwall in Denver, you know, guys that cover in every city the NFL. They're national NFL writers. So they polled 65, and 49 of those picked Carolina. And I was going through the scores to see if they were picking blowouts. And of those, there were probably half of them that were saying that the Panthers were going to score in the 30s and the Broncos in the teens. So we're talking about another Super Bowl 48 in the eyes of a lot of guys who cover the game on a regular basis. I mean, can this Broncos team, I was trying to think. I don't have the scores.
Well,
in
Whitney
front of me.
Paige, I will tell you this real quickly. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I really don't, because I know, especially at big events, there becomes a pack mentality. And I know I read a writer from Sports Illustrated predict New England 42, Denver 17. And as you well know, if I thought the Broncos were going to get blown out, I would tell you they were going to get blown out. But because 49 guys who type for ESPN think that Carolina's going to win the game, you know what that makes me think? That makes me think more that Denver's going to win the game, because usually the pack is stupid. Because if you run with the pack, you never lead the pack.
Oh,
so
that's good.
So I don't care what 49 people from ESPN think. I don't care at all.
And we're going to ask you, before we go off there today, we're going to spend some time with both our predictions. Do you think the pack, that same pack, went with the Broncos 2 years ago?
They might. They might very well have. But I think in For the Floor we're going to talk about animals picking the Super Bowl. A seal and a zebra and a dog knows as much about picking the Super Bowl as most of those 49 guys from ESPN. Can I say it any more clearer? I don't care.
Okay. Well, let's let him calm down. I'm going to tell you about New York Daily News. My friends Al and Tori over there, my waiter and waitress friends, who you got to go see. If you haven't been there, it's Denver's #1 delicatessen, and you can go over there and actually see quality food being made, quality desserts, spaghetti I love, their lasagna I love. You go, really, in a delicatessen? They have prime rib on Saturday nights, Friday and Saturday nights. It's just delectable and out of this world. The pastrami sandwiches, you can go and get the breakfast that you've never had anywhere else. I have so many friends that I see over there on Saturday and Sunday mornings who go every week of the year. That's the New York Daily News. And if you want a special on a pizza, Papa John's is the place to go. Papa John's 18 special. Go online right now. You get 2 pizzas, 3 toppings. I'm sure you can add some other toppings for a few cents. But he even said when he was here, we talked to him, he likes, what was it he liked? Pepperoni, sausage, and six cheeses. You can get the Papa John's special when you go online. That's his favorite pizza, and he made the pizza. Go to the new papajohns.com.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one. I can work out like one. I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza
Better football.
at the new papajohns.com.
Yeah, yesterday we interviewed Marquette King, the punter of the
Oakland
Raiders. He's from the Atlanta area, and he said, next year we're going to win the Super Bowl. I said, wouldn't it help if you won more than 8 games once? Terron Ward is with us from the Atlanta Falcons, who have verged in the last few years on being a Super Bowl team, fell back a little bit, new coach, new attitude. I would guess your thought is maybe you could meet Marquette King in the Super Bowl next
Oh, yeah,
year.
that'll be a dream come true right there to play in the Super Bowl. Hopefully we get there next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great young running back. There's some good running backs with your team.
Yeah, we got a handful of good guys. You know, Devontae Freeman, Pro Bowl this year, Tevin Coleman and myself, and we got a Pro Bowl fullback and Pat DeMarco.
Yeah.
You know, so we got a good room where we're at.
Okay, you're a lot better looking than your brother.
I agree.
And we've left out the big news. His brother is playing in the Super Bowl. We hope you will give us an update on that. He has said he's going to play. He's had a sprained ankle. He's had ankle problems on both sides this year. T.J. Ward, the incredible all-pro safety from the Denver Broncos, and you're his kid brother.
Yeah, he's going to play Sunday. He's going to play well, too. I got the feeling, you know, we're back home crowd, Super Bowl. You can't ask for anything more. I think the ankle's feeling pretty good. That's what he told me. So he'll be ready to go.
Well, talk about the Ward football dynasty. It must have been pretty intense with football in your house growing up.
Man, it's kind of like you were born into it, you know.
Yeah.
My dad played 3 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
Then as me and my brother grew up, my brother started playing. And, of course, as a younger brother, you want to be just like your big brother. So as soon as I was able to hold a little stuffed football, I was holding one. So, you know, Friday nights we used to always go to the high school game. Saturdays we would have our Pop Warner games. And then Sundays we were watching the Niners. You know, coming from the Bay Area, we always were big Niner fans. So, you know, during football season, it was kind of like a religion. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's football on the television.
All weekend.
And there was no problem with it. Like, it wasn't like you were forced to watch it. No, we wanted to watch it.
So, I mean, your dad didn't push you into it. It was just in the blood?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. My barber says he's been cutting my hair since I was 5.
Yeah.
He says I was running around the barbershop with a little ball in my hand. So, you know, when you see your brothers and your cousins and they're playing and they're having fun, he's like, I want to be a part of that. You know, you want to be a part of anything your siblings do.
Sure.
So it was kind of like it was just the thing it was meant to be. You know what I mean?
And your brother, I assumed, had a lot of influence on you and told you how to prepare yourself for the pros.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, kind of give us an idea of how he did help you when you're playing in college and getting ready to try and play in the NFL.
Yeah. I just followed his footsteps, you know. When I got to college, he was just getting into the pros, so he gave me a lot of tips on what he did in college. And this rookie year, man, we talked pretty much 3 times a week just on how the weeks were going, what I was doing, what I was going through, what he was doing, what he was going through, and it just talked a lot about just a weekly basis of what we were doing.
Okay, couple things. Who's tougher, running back or safety? And what's the better job, running back or safety?
I got to say the running back is tougher, you know. But I think the safety has more longevity. So he'll get another paycheck longer than me. So
there you go. Now, was he on defensive side growing up and were you on the offensive side? And he's your big brother.
Yeah.
How many times did he tackle you growing up?
It was funny. He's 5 years older than me, you know. So he matured a lot faster. So when he was going through maturity, I was still a kid. So I would always challenge him, you know. He would take it easy. And as I started maturing to get into becoming a man myself, he stopped challenging me. We don't wrestle. We don't wrestle like we used to anymore. I think he thinks I'm up for the task now, so we don't even wrestle how we used to.
So
but
there's your respect.
Yeah. But when I was younger, you know, I used to always, you know, you get your pads in August, and I used to always like, let's head up, and he would take it easy on me, but it was always fun.
You played on the only team that beat the Panthers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Eli Manning, we believe and we know, had dinner with his brother the other night. He played on a team that scored a lot of points against the Panthers. I would say that you and your brother have a chance someday to surpass Eli Manning and Peyton Manning in a number of Super Bowls that you play in.
That'll be blessed.
So we know that Eli Manning was passing along intelligence. Has your brother asked you for advice? Have you said, here's some of the things we did? I mean, quietly away from everybody, I assume you've told him a couple of things that would assist in what his preparation would be.
Yeah, I mean, I play offense, he plays defense, so it's not much I can tell him from the defensive side, but I just tell him what our defense did, you know, try to contain Cam, keep him in the pocket, get some pressure on him, and just don't allow him to have the explosive plays that they do so well, you know, and that's pretty much what we did for the Falcons. We pressured them and limited the explosive plays, and we'll see. Hopefully, at the end of the season, we'll both be the only 2 teams to beat the Panthers.
There you go.
That would be something. Are you here for a specific reason? You just supporting and loving your brother? You guys are from the area.
Uh-huh.
Is this your first Super Bowl atmosphere? You've been there with him before. Kind of tell us what's been going on for you this week.
Oh, this week's been wild. You know, we've had camera crews come to the house, interview my parents, just cover from the Bay Area. We got a lot of family here. They want to come get tickets and everything like that. But, yeah, this is my first Super Bowl experience, my first radio role, and it's really exciting to see all the players and all the celebrities here, and just the fanfare is just great here.
And I assume you were one of the select few to be able to get tickets from your brother or from your team.
Yeah, well, I got 2 tickets for myself from the Falcons, but my brother spared me a ticket too, luckily.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's great to meet you. Come visit us. I don't think you're playing your brother next year.
I think we have it on schedule.
Do
The
we?
Broncos? I think Falcons and Broncos.
well,
Maybe in Denver.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and that would be difficult. You know, we talked about, Mark was asking about getting hit by your brother, but he if you are coming to play in Denver next year, you know he's coming after you.
Hey, I'll be coming after him too.
There you go.
Hey, thanks, kid.
Thank you.
We appreciate the time. Let me talk to you about Silterhar Ford and my good friends out there. I don't know if you, I'm going to talk to you. Just listen. I went out there, and Silterhar Motors is on this gigantic lot right off of the Boulder Turnpike. Yeah, it's a car dealership. When they took me over to one of the buildings, and I started looking at Jaguars and Maseratis, and then Aston Martins that were right out of James Bond. They actually have one that was featured in Spectre, and on the side of it, it's a silver edition, but it's got gold logos on it and a little thing that says 007 collection. And so the Maserati, I said, I like this one. How much does this go for? $330,000. And I said, well, what kind of deal could I get? $330,000. And I said, how many do you get a year? 30. I said, well, how many do you sell every year? 30. And I said, I never see those cars on the road. And he said, when you spend that kind of money, you don't really take it out on the road. Silterhar Ford, Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. If you do have sexual problems, and we're trying to help you, and you want to turn your life around and get back into business, go to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and you can reach them online at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. Do your investigation, make the call, and go over there, and you'll see that they can, with their medical professionals, in a comfortable environment where you can watch ESPN, the help they can give you is incredible. 720-440-7900, Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
Mark Kiszla, Woody Paige, our last day on Radio Television Row here, and it's getting hectic and chaotic and fun. Yeah,
I saw some people I knew from Denver when I was walking over here, and so the Broncos have some support. And
are you getting a feel in the streets? Because we're both staying downtown. Are you getting a feel? I'm seeing a lot more. This is
scientific. It's anecdotal at best. Yes,
yeah.
I think that if the Carolina Panthers fans are out in force, they're not staying in San Francisco. Maybe they're staying in Sacramento. I don't know, but it does. Maybe orange stands out better than the Carolina black. But it does seem to me that if I had to guess, the crowd will be Broncos pro Manning on Sunday.
Or at the worst,
even
if you're a Broncos fan, at the worst it would be divided.
Yes.
And not dominated by, but I think the Broncos are going to have the edge. I think it would be 60, 65, 40. So
let's do 4 on the floor. First question, could John Fox have gotten this team to the Super Bowl? This Broncos team. He coached both teams in his past.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they'd have won the close games that they did. I don't think that he has the same attitude. You said to me once earlier in the season that Kubiak was even more conservative than John Fox. but John Fox's approach to the game, his assistant coaches, even though I have great respect for Adam Gase, who's now a head coach, I don't think the quality of assistant coaches was as good. I don't think Fox had the same relationship with players. I think Kubiak and the players are close together. Agree or disagree?
I think the Kubiak hire was a good hire. I questioned it at the time. Peyton Manning was asked if John Fox could have gotten this team to the Super Bowl yesterday. He said yes. Of course he would say that. But I do think one thing is important. John Fox was a significant reason why Peyton Manning came to the Broncos, because Peyton Manning knew he could run whatever offense he wanted to. And whether you believe it or not, he didn't go to Houston, in part, I think, because Gary Kubiak thought he had a quarterback in Matt Schaub and didn't need Peyton Manning. So I'm not sure that Foxy could have gotten the Broncos to the Super Bowl with this team, but I'm not sure the Broncos would have gone to any Super Bowls in the last 4 years if Peyton Manning wasn't on the team, and John Fox had a lot to do with that.
You know, I would just add a point to that Adam Gase, who didn't end up getting a head coaching job, would have been running the offense. It would have been a more Peyton Manning-centric offense that John Elway wasn't going to get his way if he hadn't made that deal, hadn't said, you know, you're out of here. And Fox had already read the writing, and he was already arranging another job. So what's next?
Who will be more prone to make the big coaching blunder, Kubiak or Riverboat Ron Rivera?
I don't think anybody's addressed that issue all week. I think that
it's a big stage for coaches too, and so
yeah.
I mean, you can be a good coach and choke a little bit on a key coaching decision in the Super Bowl.
I haven't been too happy with the way the Broncos have wasted timeouts. Now, is that going to be a big deal? It could be at the very end. I am not as familiar with Ron Rivera, obviously, as I am with Gary Kubiak, but I would say Gary Kubiak would be more prone to make a decision that would have an effect on the outcome. And that decision could be not going for a field goal because he's conservative, not going on fourth down for a 4th and 2 because of his conservative nature. He tends to be – we had somebody on the show yesterday that said that – or I've talked to her the last 2 days, that Gary Kubiak is more aggressive early and then becomes more conservative as the game goes on.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because the one thing, and I don't care, Ron Rivera has the reputation of taking gambles, and those gambles can work out or backfire. But I do agree with the comment you just made. The Broncos came out very aggressive against New England, and then once they got the lead, they leaned on their defense so heavily to protect that lead that they almost gave that lead away. And all credit to the defense, but I will say this. Do not do that to the Panthers. Do not start, if the Broncos get the lead in the second half, do not start playing the clock and stop playing the Panthers.
Except I think they'll do it.
I think you're right.
You mentioned it earlier. Animals around the country are picking the games. Do they know more than we do? Most of them are. I saw one picking the Broncos. I've heard of 2 picking the Panthers. Do they know as much or more than we do?
I haven't really talked to a lot of dogs and cats and ducks and ocelots that might be picking these games, but my guess is that if an animal picks the game, it's probably a guess, and rather than specific football knowledge. But I'll go back to this. If I remember correctly, in the last 8 Super Bowls, the underdog has won 5 times, just won outright. Not in addition to beating the spread, just won the game. So that tells me in recent years, no matter what the betting line is, no matter what the experts think, the game is a coin flip. And so in that regard, a pig has as much chance of picking the game as I do.
And guess what? the game may be determined by a coin flip. There may be a situation where you go into overtime and the team scores, and we saw what happened to the Green Bay Packers. We saw what happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Broncos years. So the coin flip at the beginning of the game, I think, is important to the Broncos. As you go, really, coin flip? They've got that New England Patriot mentality, except Patriots didn't have it against the Broncos, of letting their defense go on the field the first time and then hoping that they get the ball the last time in the last part of the first half and then get it again at the beginning of the first half. Coin flip could make a difference.
Last question sounds like Woody Paige to me.
I've been trying to get this question in all week long. He wouldn't put it in. I kept putting it in every day till both of you gave up and let me put it in.
Rice-A-Roni, is it really a San Francisco treat?
I don't know what it is.
It's instant rice. It's rice in a box.
I didn't know whether it was macaroni.
No, it's rice.
Or rice. It's rice-a-roni.
Yeah.
A San Francisco treat. And they show the cable car, and the cable car rings a bell. You been on the cable car this week?
Not this week.
Me neither. So, rice-a-roni. Have you ever had it?
Yes, as a child, I had rice-a-roni.
I've never had it. Didn't know what it was. That's why I asked.
It was a treat for us in Parkersburg, West Virginia.
I've never seen it since we've been here. 4 on the Floor brought to you by Kaufman Big and Tall Men's Shop. And I've been wearing Kaufman shirts all week long. I hope if you go over there, I think you'll be so pleased with, first of all, the service you get. They've got several salespeople who've been there and been involved for 30 years. And they've got great quality clothing for the big and tall man. That's Kaufman's Big and Tall Men's Shop. Great sale going on right now. Citywide Banks. Citywide Banks are the bank that we do our business with. Why? They're family-owned, Colorado-focused. There's 12 locations around Denver and in the Boulder area. One on Hamden that I frequent that's right down from New York Daily News. You're going to want to deal with these people. They'll help you with your small business, your big business, all of your personal banking problems. Open an account today and you'll see that you're dealing with a friendly, professional group of people at Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
At Citywide Banks,
we put you first by exceeding your service expectations every day.
Every day.
You can do 5 minutes of this on Pick 6. Sports Show, Woody Paige, Mark Kiszla. Well, it's Friday, and it's the last sports show of the week. So I guess we got to make predictions.
Yeah.
What you got? Who you got?
The Denver Post is doing some sort of show over the weekend from downtown. We don't know the time or who's involved, but we're not. So anyway, watch for that. But you can watch us online at YouTube, Facebook, DenverPost.com, WoodyPage.com. All the places you want to go back and watch what we've said this week. And this is going to be important because this is one you'll want to keep, put in your pocket, and come back to. Who's going to win the game?
I get to go first.
I'll go first.
Okay.
While you're still thinking.
No, I'm ready. Go ahead.
The Broncos are going to win the game 24-23.
Okay.
I believe Phil Simms, when he says first team to 24 wins. I think there'll only be one team that goes to 24. That will be the Denver Broncos. That is stretching their offense to its extreme. And I think they do that. That Peyton Manning in this game throws for a couple of touchdown passes as he did before. He's been looking good this week. He is probably the 1 point mark that we've talked about over and over again. John Elway and Gary Kubiak wanted to rest him so he'd be ready. You said 3 weeks ago, does he have 3 games in him? He's had 2.5 if you throw in San Diego. But he's had 2 playoff games where he has only turned the ball over once, and that was not his fault. Ronnie Hillman did catch it, then didn't reach out and get it. That I think that I remember him. That's my idol in life. We have to bring him in because we'll get his feelings about it. But I think that the defense is going to play well. It's healthier than I thought it was going to be. Both the safeties going to play. I think I have in Wade I trust. Wade has had 2 weeks to work on Cam Newton. I think this is the first time Cam Newton has been on this stage. You and I have seen enough Super Bowls to see guys that really can't handle the first one as well as they could a playoff game or a regular season game. I don't think the Carolina Panthers running game is that great. They've got a fullback that's pretty successful. I don't think they've got the wide receiving core the Broncos have. I don't think their defense is quite as good, even though it's bigger and stronger and turns plays into pick sixes. I think the Broncos on a field goal are going to take the lead at 24-21. At 24-20. And what's going to happen is, anyway, how it comes down to is that Carolina doesn't make the 2-point conversion and loses the game.
I'll be real brief, and I write about some of my analysis of how this game's going to go in the Sunday Denver Post, so I would look for that. I like the idea Broncos have won so many close games this year, but I also believe in the math, and you know that. And if they tempt Cam Newton to beat him the way they tempted Tom Brady to beat him, I don't like the odds of that. But I do think the Broncos will find a way to win this game, and I got it 26-24.
So we would both be willing to take 5.5 if we ever gambled in life. I've thought
from the beginning that there's no more than a field goal difference between these two teams rather than a touchdown.
So you would disagree with Phil Simms is going to take – well, if they got – you said 26-23?
26-24.
So 24 is the number for you. 24 is the number for me. 24 will win the game. Papa John's 18 special. Go online right now this weekend, and you can get 2 pizzas with 3 toppings each. In my mind, it would be onions, it would be pepperoni, it would be that great hot sausage they have. You get 2 pizzas for $18. What a great idea for you and your weekend and celebration for the Super Bowl upcoming. Papa John's, the new papajohns.com.
For our Players' Choice pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one, I can work out like one, I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
I got calls a few weeks ago saying, Dan's talking about the way you dress. And so I thought when I came to the Super Bowl, I'd try to dress better or something. Then he made a reference one day about all these guys are slugs and everything, except for Woody Paige. But I thought it was a sarcastic remark.
So. Well, I've told you his opinion. He's a big fan of you.
McClellan is here, and we're going to keep it at that. He, as I said, you're one of my idols. I listen to you guys every day, and it's become a little bit more difficult in Denver because you moved stations.
Oh,
I don't know if you knew that.
No.
But you're still on. But you're now on live in Denver. Before, it was better for me because you were delayed about an hour.
Okay.
And so.
Well, you can find us. You can find us on NBC Sports Network and DirecTV Audience Channel and DanPatrick.com.
You got it all, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the first time you met Mark Kiszla?
I think in person. I mean, he's on the show like every 8 days, it feels like.
Yeah.
I know it feels that way to you.
Yeah.
The other guy tends to like me on Rich Eisen. Brings me on his show all the time.
Well, that's because Dan assumes you're still asleep.
Well, I think it was because I praised Rich's staff's hardwood floor. They have got a great waxed floor. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, you were in L.A. in El Segundo.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, he came on our show the other day.
Yeah.
And everybody should know that you have dual lives. He's like Clark Kent and Superman. That you write for Sports Illustrated. And you do a lot of and
I do some editing for them, too. I was originally an editor at Sports Illustrated. I edited Peter King for 6 years. Dr. Z, who you guys know, for a long time.
I brought him up yesterday that we had a guy here, and Paul Zimmerman and he's been very ill and slowed down the last few years. Paul and I are riding from the Senior Bowl to the Super Bowl, and he pulled out a notebook. He had kept every national anthem at every game he could tell me the longest, the worst, the best, the shortest. And so I've tried to reach out to his family to take over that task.
Oh, wow.
Because I have thought, and I was told that the over-under on the Super Bowl national anthem, Lady Gaga, is 157.
Wow.
I'm going over.
Me too. She's so dramatic.
Yeah.
That's what I told him.
I think the last 4 notes would take like 12 seconds.
That's what shocked me about it.
Yeah.
What has been your take? I hate that word. What has been, of all the Super Bowl stuff, Cam Newton and Peyton Manning, the 2 angles with Peyton Manning, what have you taken away from the Super Bowl this week and you go?
I got to be honest. This is going to sound so soft, but I really like both teams. I think, like, the Panthers seem like a great bunch of guys. Take away Cam, but you go underneath it. First of all, they're old. They're all like 33. Like, there's so many older guys. Great guys like Charles Tillman and Greg Olsen. And you go down the list, there are a lot of those guys. Denver seems the same way, you know. I think Peyton gets a little attention, but it seems like a tight-knit group. I mean, you guys know better.
I agree.
Yeah, but it seems like a good group of guys on both sides.
I'll tell you, it seems to be more tight-knit on defense than offense because they've shuffled players in and out on offense, new guys coming in. That defense now has played together in a lot of the cases for 2 or 3 years. And T.J. Ward, who we were talking about, Chris Harris Jr.,
the defense rules that locker room, and that's a complete flip of the script for Denver from 2 years ago. Can you analyze this game without knowing in your head that the last time Denver was here, it was
no? Oh my God! I tweeted out the second the set matchup. I was like, "Uh-oh, is this going to be Seattle, Denver?"
Right.
But I wonder, you know, Cam's never been under these bright lights.
That's what I
said. You know, and like he hasn't shown any signs of pressure yet. But Super Bowl is a big deal, so Denver players have. So I was wondering. You know, the funny thing is, and Dan, Patrick, and I were talking about this at length the other day, all the money's coming in on Carolina. So, like, maybe we ought to start betting on Denver. And then Peter King, I saw last night, he's like, Andrew, I got to tell you.
That's a pretty good impression.
Yeah, Andrew, Peyton Manning was zipping the ball around the field.
You saw him right after I did. I said to Mark, I'm walking down the street, Peter comes down, and he's the pool reporter.
Yeah.
And he said, they're having fun. They're relaxed. He said, and Peyton Manning is just throwing the ball like you can't believe it. And I said, you sound like a guy that's really – he said, Denver looks great.
I know. But he said, but Andrew – I'm like, should I pick Denver? He's like, Andrew, you can do what you want. I don't know.
So what have you made your pick, and what is the pick?
Yeah, I picked Carolina at the beginning of the playoffs, so I'm sticking with it. But this week has sort of changed my mind a little bit. I think Carolina might get a little tight. Yeah. I think Cam, though, you know, Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware rush, feels like he'll have lanes to run on, so he can always get that key first down.
But Mark made great points, though, about how they're going to flip. I mean, not flip, but they're going to use the inside linebackers on those zone read plays to protect the outside run and have Von and DeMarcus go after Cam on those plays. So, I don't know. I think what he said earlier is the best thing. They have animals all over the country picking it now. And I saw one today, and it's odd that they always put the food on the one they want the animal to pick. The orangutan that's picked correctly for 7 years. And we both decided they don't know any more or less than we do. Yeah. But we both mentioned Sports Illustrated took its like ESPN took its like 85 ESPN football writers. 49 of them picked the Panthers and 14 picked the Broncos. And they had blowouts galore.
Yeah, of course.
And one thing I think we both agree on is that it's going to be a close game.
Okay, yeah, I'm feeling that way now too. But yeah, I'm terrible at picking these things. But yeah, how many games come down to like a pick at the end? Like, did you get any credit for picking the Patriots to beat the Seahawks last year? That was a fluke.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't.
Yeah.
These games are
how
so close.
How did you know?
Yeah. Oh, of course you knew Malcolm Butler was going to jump in and pick off Russell Wilson.
Of course.
Yeah.
I had that all the way.
And who do you pull for yourself? He picked the Pittsburgh Broncos game, the exact score.
Wow.
Exact score. 20.
Because I knew.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
We go to the New England Denver game, and I know the pressure's on me now. I picked the Broncos to win 23-20 in overtime.
So he's
Brady-
cheering for Tom Brady to get the 2-point conversion
If they get
so
the
he
two-
can
Of
be
course.
right.
Of course.
if he converts the 2-point, they said, "What are you pulling for?" I'm pulling for them to make the 2-point conversion. Well, they could.
What he's
Broncos could
pulling
lose.
for him to be smart.
But I thought, oh, that's great. Finally.
Wait, I got to tell
watched
you one
it.
thing. Did you guys know I'm the face of Cam Newton dislike in this country?
You are?
Yes.
And what a face it is.
In the middle of the game, he's scoring like crazy against, I think it was Arizona, and he's handing the ball to the kids. And I tweeted, it's like, does anyone else feel like this handing the ball to the kids is totally staged? I'm so sick of it.
Oh!
So I just tweeted it offhand, like, during games, stream of cons. No one's going to read this.
Yeah, you got a lot of grief.
America put me on, like CNN wrote a story, and they were quoting me yesterday. This was like, some people just don't get Cam Newton. I thought I was just making a little sarcastic commentary in game. Social media is so dangerous.
And we have to add at the end, because the reason why he's my idol is Dan Patrick does Sports Jeopardy on Cracker or
Crackle.com, yeah.
And I watch it. I've watched it with the idiots, or machines and everything. You go in there and win.
I lost.
I thought you won.
No, I lost in Final Jeopardy. The question was, see if you guys can get this.
Oh, no.
I was leading by 5,000 points,
right,
killing it.
And you bet too much?
No, I got
wagered it all?
Someone was close enough where I had to wager it all.
Okay.
God, I thought you
question
won.
was, this,
You're not my idol
it was
anymore.
Sure. I know, I was so bummed. This monument in Yankees, that thing where the plaques are in Yankee Stadium says, this man is honored posthumously for an incredible achievement. Do you know who it is?
Somebody who caught a ball or somebody.
Yankees.
Yeah.
Monument Park, it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's where they put Gehrig and Ruth and everything. They moved them to the new Yankee Stadium. And
Luke Gehrig.
No, I was just filling dead air while you guys were thinking, by the way. There,
Because
nope. Lou Gehrig was one guess. That's not it.
That was me. I didn't win Final Jeopardy either.
This man this man. So the category's Yankees.
Yeah, it's a Yankee.
And then so when you said we involved death in it, I thought
Lou Gehrig's a great
today I'm the luckiest.
Thurman Munson pops into my
Thurman
head.
Munson would be good. I said Don Larson. No. Roger Maris. Who is Roger Maris? I got it wrong. And I killed NFL and I killed NBA. If they had said, tell me how many Alex English scored in 1983, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
But
And I was telling you the other day about I was on the real Jeopardy.
Oh, you
years
were?
ago. One year at the Super Bowl, while everybody's at media day, I went and tried out for Jeopardy. And I ended up on there, and I had to make up stuff like, what are your hobbies? And I said, collecting butterflies and skydiving. And they put me on. And I had to bring 5 suits because that's the most you could win. I brought the 5 suits. I lost. I had to drag my 4 suits, and my daughter's really proud of it. But the one I missed was the Daily Double, what's the city across the bay from Hong Kong? And to this day, when I go to restaurants and they go, any more questions? I would go, what's the city across the bay from Hong Kong? So you'll always remember
what's the answer?
Roger Maris.
Taiwan? I don't know what.
I said West Hong Kong because East St. Louis.
Oh, yeah. It's over the Hong Kong Bridge. Exactly.
It's Macau.
Oh.
Hey,
thank you.
It's a great way to end the week.
Yeah.
And next year, we'll see you again.
Perfect.
We want to tell you our sponsors, Bud's Bar down in Sedalia. If you ever come to Colorado, nationally, it's known as the best cheeseburger in Colorado. There's a reason if you go there. We want to thank all of our sponsors. We're going to take a half-hour break if you're around. We're going to have nothing but great. I don't know how we can top this. We'll continue with more guests in a half hour on the sports show with Mark Kiszla and Woody Paige. Two of us have picked the Broncos. McClellan has picked the wrong way. We'll see you later. the Moscone Convention Center, the Media Center. It's wild. It's I think tenser and tighter. People are not as relaxed because it's getting closer to the Super Bowl that's coming up on Sunday. Denver Broncos, Carolina Panthers. I'm Woody Paige. This is the Sports Show, DPTV. We'll talk about our sponsors, but we want to start the show with a guy who is the columnist for the San Francisco Examiner, the sports editor, who I worked with for more than 10 years on Around the Horn on ESPN. He was a columnist in Denver when the Broncos would go to the Super Bowl in the 80s. Let's go to our interview with Jay Mariotti. We're back on the Sports Show. It's presented by the Denver Post. I'm Woody Paige, and it is a distinct pleasure, and I genuinely mean that, to get to work with, not get to work, but get to work with Jay Mariotti again. Hey, Jay.
Can we look at the schedule? Let's look at the schedule. I just saw Richard Sherman walk out with 15 cops. Does he need 15 cops around him? Come on.
Well, maybe he wants it that way to look like he needs 15 cops. I think you've
been around it long enough to know that. That's exactly what's going on.
I told Eugene Robinson, who was here earlier, that I wanted to play Around the Horn with him. I really miss the best part of Around the Horn for 11 years was you and me being able to banter, as they say it. So I'm going to kind of do this with you.
Here we go.
San Francisco has been one of the worst Super Bowl sites in history.
Why, Woody?
Well, because the security, it's spread out too much, Jay, and you don't know what. I mean, the teams are out there, the stadium's out there. This reminds me of when we go to L.A. It'd be out the Rose Bowl, and I'm still not getting. And this is now your town, and for people who don't know, he is the top sports writer in all of San Francisco. San Francisco Examiner, sports editor, columnist, Bon Vivant. You found a home here. I assume you'll defend San Francisco, but I don't get the same feel. I get it inside here, but I'm not on the street. Mostly, your town took supposedly all its homeless people and moved them somewhere. You know where they moved them? In front of the Hilton, where I'm staying.
They're actually everywhere, Woody. All right, let's move back. San Francisco is a fascinating place, but it's a political place. And several years ago, the York family went to the city of San Francisco as the recession was starting and said, build us a stadium. We can't stay a candlestick. The city of San Francisco, like many smart municipalities, said, screw you, bye. And so they went down to it'd be like going to Greeley. It'd be like the Broncos going to Greeley and saying, build us a stadium and we're not going to put any money into it. And Greeley goes, here it is. We'll put the Broncos Stadium in Greeley or Pueblo or Colorado Springs. Sure. And they did it. And
New Jersey.
Could get away with that when you have Jim Harbaugh as your coach and they're going to NFC title games into a Super Bowl. You cannot get away with that when they're dreadful and you get rid of Jim Harbaugh. So, yes, I feel your pain because it's not fair for those of us in the media to keep going 46 miles back and forth. The NFL doesn't care about you or me or anybody in here, although they certainly do love to milk us in this magnificent room filled with fans. Aren't you a little nervous, by the way? We're a little close to the fans. You get nasty letters.
I feel like an animal in the zoo.
Well, there's that feeling, too.
That they're peering in, eating peanuts and watching it.
So, yes, what's bad about it, it's a beautiful city.
Yeah,
it's got a homeless problem. The disparity between rich and poor is no greater than anywhere than in San Francisco. It's been a history in the city of being a liberal town, so you're not gonna do horrible things to homeless people. You're just going to set them aside for appearance reasons, and I agree with you. That's horrible. But, yes, they're all over town, Woody. They're not just on your doorstep.
I will give you a project to work on. We're at the media party the other night, and the people serving the food, the caterer, told us that by law here, you cannot donate that food to the homeless people or shelters or anything, that they had to dump the food. Now, tell me how ridiculous is that? Wouldn't you be able to take? Okay, so that it's leftovers. But why not donate it to a local food bank? Because
I'm pretty sure you could donate to a local food bank. But you are right. The homeless problem in San Francisco is it's a state of emergency.
Yeah.
But if you looked at the stats, it's only the 8th biggest problem in America, San Francisco. There's 7 other cities apparently. The thing is, Woody, it's a compact city. Los Angeles County has many, many more homeless people, but it's spread out from the ocean to Burbank. So, the problem is we're right here. I love living here. The subject material for me as a sports guy is off the charts.
Well, Steph Curry, you were telling me earlier about that. I mean, the Warriors talked about being off the charts. The Warriors, the Giants, what they're doing. 49ers now bringing in Chip Kelly. I mean, that's a dream columnist coach. And now Kaepernick, I thought it was a perfect situation because Kaepernick worked in the spread, that he could be in hurry-up offices, and then Kaepernick
I'm going to go around the horn on you now. I'm going to tell you, we're going
Kaepernick tells somebody he wants to go to the New York Jets.
What does Chip Kelly need? And he needs to move the chains, right? So he needs a quarterback who at least can go. He needs a dart thrower. And sure, you would love to have a mobile quarterback. Colin Kaepernick, if he tried to hit your camera guy right now, may or may not hit. It may go here. It may go here. It may go. He's erratic. He cannot move a chain.
But he's still young.
He's young, but he's not. This is a wrong situation. And you've seen quarterbacks get into bad deals. I don't think he'll be their quarterback next year. I think Sam Bradford will be the quarterback, which will excite nobody around here. But you've got to have somebody to be accurate. Bradford at least was accurate with Kelly.
See, and my response to that would be, I've always told my daughter, don't take another job till you don't quit a job until you get another job. Don't give up on Kaepernick till you find somebody that fits.
Well, Bradford's a free agent.
Yeah, Hello, but he's not any good.
Well, they owe Kaepernick $14 million in April the 1st.
Yeah.
And the problem is that's going to kick in if he is not healthy. He just had 3 surgeries. He's not going to be healthy on April the 1st. So they are probably stuck with him unless they can cut a deal for him elsewhere. You don't even know if he's healthy, Woody. And I can tell you upstairs he was wrecked by that situation here. He was created by Jim Harbaugh and then uncreated by the Jim Tomsula regime, which was a joke.
You once wrote that the Broncos should not go back to the Super Bowl and embarrass themselves, that John Elway should, and his mother agreed with you. Don't go back.
55 to 10, if you recall. Yeah.
Do you give the Broncos any chance in this game?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because Cam Newton is a compelling figure. He has a chance to be a revolutionary player. I still think there's a chance that defense can rattle him on Sunday. See, I was in Denver for the championship game. The last 5 plays, DeMarcus Ware is wrapped around Tom Brady's ankles every play. Now, this is a better offensive line Carolina has than New England, but between Von Miller, who is outer-worldly in his own way, and Ware and Wade Phillips, I think you can rattle this guy a little. And if you've noticed their offense, the receivers are not all-world receivers. The running backs are not all-world running backs. It's all about Cam Newton. Cam Newton is still a young guy. And while he's had a phenomenal year, I am expecting him to make a couple of mistakes, and Denver will stay in the game. It's up to the old man that we're all rooting for, Peyton Manning, to not make mistakes himself. And I remind people, Woody, first half in Denver, he looked really good.
The Broncos wanted to rest him this year. Elway and Kubiak made a decision not to practice him on Wednesday. They wanted him to be fresh at the end of the season. Well, guess what? He is fresh at the end of the season because he spent 7 weeks on the sideline, and it actually worked out better than he had to play 3 games. He had to play the 2 playoff games and this game. And I thought he looked good at both games. I mean, he's not ever going to be Peyton Manning. Well, he never did have an arm anyway, much of one, but
balls like this. But it's getting there. He's smart. You asked me if they have a chance. I do think they have a chance. I won't pick them to win, but I do think it'll stay close. I used to get on John when I was in Denver because he was in the mode of complaining about us, and I remember writing, what do you think? This is Denver. You want to go to New York or somewhere else and see what it's like there? But I will say this. He's been terrific. The way he broke this thing down from a record offensive year 2 years ago to building it with defense, it's a really good. You know what? I'm sure you know this. I don't think a lot of people realize he'll be if he wins this game, the first Super Bowl MVP to win as an executive as well. He's going for a perfecta that is pretty damn impressive. If you would ask me when he was 28, will he be a Super Bowl winning executive? I would have said, no, run a steakhouse. Now, in addition to running a steakhouse, he may do this, and to me, pretty impressive feat.
You work for the same guy I work for, and he told me, and I give him grief about it. He said when I was promoting, I met with John on his 50th birthday, and I said, what do you really want to do? because he was floating around and doing stuff, and he said, I want to run the Broncos. And I wrote that and everything, and Pat, then because of the Josh McDaniels may have been the best thing that ever happened to Denver because he was so bad they had to go out and get somebody like John. And Dean Singleton, who was our boss at one time, had said to me, that'd be the worst thing in the history of Denver to have John Elway running a franchise. And someone in a powerful role with the Broncos agreed with him, and that same guy now is basically John Elway's best friend. I'll leave it at that. His initials are Joe Ellis. Joe Ellis didn't want him there, but they work side by side now. And you're absolutely right. But I think Kubiak, I wrote early in the week, and you were around Kubiak, that he can emerge from John Elway's shadow finally if he wins this game. He is John Elway's boy. He was John Elway's backup. He was his caddy. He was Mike Shanahan's guy. Shanahan called the plays. The Gary Kubiak, and then in Houston, he didn't fulfill all of their hopes. He got them better. But he's always been in the shadows. He can come out of the shadows, I think, if he wins a game. Do you agree or disagree?
Yes, and sometimes cronyism is poison. In this case, it worked. I mean, aren't they? They're still best friends. Their families are close.
Yeah.
Normally, that doesn't work on this level. It will be poisoned by some element. In this case, it's thrived, and they share thoughts. Obviously, John thought that, the way the Broncos tailed off in those playoff games with no energy, Fox was not the right guy for this. For whatever reason, Kubiak, I was impressed by the way he handled the very delicate Peyton Manning situation. Very impressed. A lot of us nationally are thinking, well, you got to go with the kid because he's got an arm. And I think all along their plan was this without telling anybody. Pretty shrewd in the end just to get to this point. I mean, I really respect their brain trust. And I say that because I've come from my current job. I got to deal with the 49ers. These guys are the reigning buffoons of the NFL. And I was in Chicago where front offices weren't real slick. So, again, to see Elway going ahead, hiring his friend, having some vision, and it working out is a great story. And I'm sure you've written it that way. Yep. Thank you, man.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise.
We had worked together for years and years and years. We were supposed to be the bitterest of enemies. I've always had incredible respect
only that
for
half
you.
hour on TV.
Yep.
We were.
Yep.
Yeah. But
Jay
you got all the
Mariotti.
names right. You got all the names right. Yeah? All right, get the name right. Yeah?
It's still there. Jay Mariotti. We're back with you on the Sports Show. Having a great Friday afternoon. Let me talk to you about Denver Mattress, the official sponsor of the Denver Broncos, the official mattress of the Denver Broncos. There's a reason why the official mattress of the Sports Show is presented by the Denver Post. I've worked with the people at Denver Mattress on a charity event for years and years, and we love the quality of their mattresses, the quality of the executive, the people who work in the factory. It's in Denver, right off I-70, as you're heading to Old Stapleton. And I just want to tell you that I love the way that they can find a mattress that fits whatever your purpose is. We spend a third of our lives in bed, sleeping, and if you have back problems or you have issues with the soft bed, the hard bed, if you have issues with wanting the size of the bed, the right price, everything, Denver Mattress. I also like to talk to you about Bud's Bar in Sedalia, one of my favorite places in all of America, and that's truly true. Sedalia is out of the way a little bit, but it's worth going out of your way. That would be going south on Santa Fe between County Line Road and Castle Rock. Sedalia sits on the side of the road, on the right side, right by the railroad tracks. That road was going to 287, was always intended to be the main road from Wyoming down to Santa Fe, probably was the Santa Fe Trail. And if you want to have an experience, an incredible cheeseburger, have a beer, have a drink, watch some TV, hang out with good people, I invite you to go for the best cheeseburger you'll find. And as I repeat over and over again, don't trust me, trust the people who do this for a living. And I'm talking about people who review hamburgers. There's a book out. You can look for it, Best Hamburger Places in America. There's only one listed from Colorado. That's Bud's Bar in Sedalia, the best burger you'll find in America as far as I'm concerned. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. If you're having sexual issues or if you're having general health issues, we invite you to go and visit the medical professionals at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic in Denver, Colorado's #1 men's clinic, and they can get you back into business. They can get you back with the excitement, the intimacy, the romanticism of your sex lives with your significant others. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, online at RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one. I can work out like one. I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
It's live from the Moscone Convention Center in downtown San Francisco, the excitement building toward the Super Bowl. And one of those who it's building forward for more than any of us would be Von Miller, who some people are saying, some experts, is the #1 player in the Super Bowl, even picked ahead of Cam Newton. They were both drafted the same year. Cam Newton was drafted #1, Von Miller #2 by the Broncos. Wonder what would have happened if it had been switched. Let's talk to Von Miller, the outside linebacker who could be the most pivotal player for the Broncos in the Super Bowl.
Howdy, how's it going?
Von, after not being able to play last time, has it sunk in that you're going to get to play this time?
I
guess how are you feeling now a couple days out?
I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like I've been here before. It's not really, of course I'm excited. I'm excited and, I want to take advantage of the opportunity, but, all the nerves and stuff is not there. I've been nervous for the games this year. I was nervous for the Vikings game, the Bears game, but, this game right here is just, it feels like we're supposed to be here. When you take advantage of the opportunity, everything is calm, and I feel like I've been here before.
You called Cam Newton one of your favorite quarterbacks to now have a chance to play against him in the Super Bowl, to be trying to chase him down. What's that like?
Oh, it's great. It's great, man. It's just it's a strong indicator of the 2011 draft. We had a lot of talent in there, and I played Cam before. It was a great game, and I'm sure this will be a great game as well.
Could we have called the bus thing a little bit scary yesterday? Were you on one of the buses?
Yeah, it was definitely scary. I wasn't really paying attention. I was on the bus. I was talking and looking down, and fortunately everybody was safe. And fortunately nobody was hurt and everybody was safe.
Signing day tomorrow. Do you remember your signing day?
Oh yeah, I remember my signing day. It was great. I was in high school. We was at our auditorium. Had the pastor come out. Everybody who was involved in my life was there. It was huge. It was definitely a day I remember for the rest of my life.
When you made that decision, though, how difficult was the decision for you to go to A&M? Where you were deciding between, and how difficult was it to make that decision for your life?
The decision to go to Texas A&M was the greatest decision I've ever made in my life. Gig 'em. No, it was. I had Texas A&M being so close to Dallas. I had been there and I was familiar, but when I started to get recruited by them, start to learn about traditions and what it meant to be an Aggie and the Aggie network, and it was just something that I wanted to be a part of, and went there and it was the greatest decision I made in my life.
Was it a life changer?
Definitely a life changer. I'm an Aggie through and through. What was the question again? I mean, it's been two totally different paths. I mean, you talk about Superman, and you talk about Batman and Robin. You know, so it's been two totally different paths. But it's brought us here, and it's a special moment, and I just want to take advantage of the opportunity.
Did you have the opportunity to get to know Cam during that draft process?
I mean, I know him, you know, but I don't know him like, you know, personally, like, you know, like friend. If I see him out, you know, we'll kick it, you know, we'll talk and stuff. It's just that type of respect that you have for your draft mates. But as a, you know, on a personal level, I don't know him like that, but you know, I know of him. He's a great leader. I know people that know him well, and everything they say about him is always great.
Biggest challenge he presents to a defense?
Of course, everybody knows about, you know, his speed and, you know, him being fast. I mean, fast, strong, tall, you know, all that stuff. But his ability to make others play to a level that they wouldn't normally play at is, I think, is his greatest attribute.
When you guys were,
I mean, you got to up your game every week. It's a National Football League. You're playing against great players, you know, every week. You know, our best game is needed every single week, and this week is no different.
obviously you guys were linked at the top of that draft in 11, and the idea of, you know, who would go 1, who would go 2. How serious did you think Carolina was in considering you?
I mean, it's a draft. You know, I worked hard my whole entire life for that opportunity. You know, I felt like, I felt like just like everybody else in the 2011 draft. They felt like they should have been drafted number 1 too. You know, 1 and 2 was only 30 seconds apart, so it's not really a huge difference. You know, we both had pretty good careers up until this point. We got an opportunity to go out there and play this Sunday.
But when you're going through the process, you envision, okay, what would I do? Be like if I fit here, or do I fit there?
No, I never really looked at it like that. When I came to the Cowboys, when I came to the Broncos, it was just all Orange Crest from here on out.
You talk about working hard for an opportunity. I mean, you got an opportunity coming up in free agency. You might not get there because of the tag. What are your general feelings on the franchise?
I haven't really thought about it. Of course, I put a little thought into it, but all of my attention has been here in the now, here in the moment. I got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity playing in Super Bowl 50, the biggest Super Bowl up until this point, and I just want to lose myself in that.
The coaching change seems to have made a difference as far as getting past over that hump. How does this accomplishment reflect on John Fox? Does it kind of solidify the notion that you just can't win the big one, or do you?
I don't know, Coach Fox. He loved me first. That's my guy. I don't know about any of the other stuff.
What's the story behind you and the chickens, and what made you want to get into that?
I went to Texas A&M. It started off by taking one easy class, honestly, introduction class, and I liked it. And I just continued. I took another class next semester, and I liked that too. And here I am today, Von Miller, the chicken farmer.
What was the class?
It was poetry, meat production.
What did you like about it?
I liked everything about it. It was hands-on. My professor, he was a great Dr. Farnell. He was a very, very great instructor, and the way he was interested in chickens and the way he portrayed his interest to everybody else in the classroom, it really got me interested. So that's how I got started.
When did you start with that?
Where did I start?
When did you start buying chickens and hoops and everything?
Oh, I started when I got some money. When I got to the league, and it's still not. It's still a very, very, intimate situation I have at home. It's not really commercial or anything like that.
How many chickens do you own?
Oh, it's about like 30, 35, 40.
And like when you envision starting to actually produce chicken, and
I don't know.
Your first year, you put your name on the against the league. And eventually led to the TV. What did that mean to you to go through that, put your name on something like that, and those guys were just kind of shy away from you?
I had an opportunity to help players that came before me and help the players that are playing in the NFL now and all the players that would come after me. So, go out there and help, and go out there and help put my name on a lawsuit with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and all these other greats. It was to help those guys out. It meant the world for me.
Was it at all difficult to decide to do that?
Yeah, it was difficult because I hadn't even stepped, foot into the league. I haven't even begun. We haven't even started talking about the draft or anything like that. I was just fresh out of college, still training. But the bigger picture, I was helping a bigger cause. It was bigger than myself, so I decided to do it.
Hey, Vaughn, what does being an underdog mean? Is that something that matters that you guys can draw some fuel from?
I really haven't paid any attention to it. I mean, I'm not betting on the game or anything like that. So, I'm just going out there and I'm just playing. I really don't pay attention to all that stuff. We got a huge opportunity. Anything can happen on Sunday. So got a huge opportunity to take it. Got a huge opportunity to go out there and play in Super Bowl 50 and take advantage of it.
What's your take on players who celebrate touchdowns? And obviously, Cam has got a lot of attention on that. Is that insulting as a defensive guy? Do you feel like they're showing up the defense when they?
What's my take on celebrations? I love it. I love it. It's whoever's dancing the most probably is going to win the game. On Sunday. So, I like to dance. I like to show emotion, celebrate with my teammates. Cam is the same way. I love it. I think it's great for the game. You got a younger generation that plays close attention to that, and that's what they follow, and that's the future of the sport. So I think it's great, and whoever's dancing the most will likely win the game on Sunday.
Vaughn, how deserving is DeMarcus of this opportunity after 11 years of the career that he's had? How deserving is he of this moment?
I mean, after the career he's had and all the stuff, he's very, very deserving. This is the last thing on the checklist, and I'm gonna go out there and put my back on the line for him, to make sure he gets it.
Have you seen him taking things in? Have you seen a more kind of a different side of DeMarcus this week taking things in?
DeMarcus, it's really nothing that's too big for DeMarcus. You talk about Mr. America, and he has the sense too that he's been here before. It's a huge opportunity to go out here and take advantage of it, and it's all great. But the bottom line is we need to go out here and play great football, and that's what's keeping everybody grounded.
Vaughn, what kind of look did you see as the game went on in Brady's face a couple of weeks ago? As you guys kept hitting him.
I mean, the same Tom Brady. The game came down to extra point play. It wasn't really we didn't run off with the game or anything like that. It came down to the very, very end. So, I didn't really pay attention to his face, but if I did, I would like to think that he was serious. He was into the game,
Back on the sports show as presented by the Denver Post in the Media Center, downtown San Francisco. So much going on inside the building, outside the building, from here to Santa Clara to San Jose, throughout all the parts of San Francisco. I was doing Around the Horn down on the bay today in Marina Green Park, and there were thousands of people down there. We had Alcatraz and the Golden Gate Bridge in the background, and we're back here with Dan Boniface. I'm not going to make you introduce yourself today because great shirt, great sweater.
Thank you.
It gets so cold in the Media Center. Ahead of our digital services at the Denver Post, digital producer, head of digital producers at the Denver Post, and here all week, social media, stories, everything that's going on. I want to ask you a couple of questions. Is there anything new that is developing today for tomorrow's Denver Post, or what's happening today that maybe we've missed being here all afternoon?
You're talking about trending stories, or are you talking about what we're working on?
Yeah, both.
Well, we have been doing a lot of fun stuff out here, social media-wise. Sarah Grant, our social media editor, has been out here doing a lot of cool things with Snapchat. Are you on Snapchat, Woody?
Yes, I am. Something strange was put on there about me in the last couple of days. Yeah.
Yep. So she's been going all over town doing snaps of, just basically the sites, the fan experience, and just kind of showing people more.
Let's go to Denver Post on Snapchat.
Yep. Follow us on Snapchat. It's the username is Denver Post. Yeah.
Okay. What is the Post working on for tomorrow? I know the guys are working on Sunday stories, so kind of give us an overview, if you would, of what the what's going on it's going to be the Post concentrating on the last couple of days.
Yeah, well, we've been basically everybody's been trying to finish up their stories for the Sunday paper. And then tomorrow we've got our pregame show, which we'll be shooting tomorrow at 10 a.m. and 10 a.m. local time. So look for our pregame show by, I would say, tomorrow afternoon sometime.
A lot of the Denver Post sports writers and other Denver Post reporters that are out here for that, that you're doing it somewhere downtown.
Yeah, still location TBA, but
it'll be in the middle of all the action downtown outside, which was done in New York a couple of years ago when the Broncos were in there. Any stories that you've just heard about on Twitter going past all of the controversy surrounding Peyton Manning? Is there any update? Washington Post did a big investigative piece on that he had his team had hired a crisis management investigators, and I'm wondering, you have more to do with digital than anybody that I know at the paper. This is beginning to be a Deflategate kind of story.
Yeah, I mean, going into this week, you kind of had a feeling that somebody was going to try and forward the story a little bit near the end of the week. So much attention on the Super Bowl itself. You just kind of had this feeling that somebody was going to drop some kind of a story on this. So I wasn't too surprised to see it. The latest is that the Sly family made a 911 call when these investigators showed up at their house. So that was a public record, and so that's the latest on that story.
I have, I think, and Mark Kiszla and I talked about it earlier, that I think Peyton Manning felt like he could do as he does a lot of times and kind of turn it into a humorous thing or blow it off pretty quickly by calling it garbage to begin with, that he wasn't going to talk about his wife. I think he should have held a press conference at Dove Valley in the auditorium and addressed all the issues and kind of got it all out there. And he didn't address it again, really, other than it's a big fat nothing when I got here. And at some point, he and his team are going to have to deal more with it. And I said earlier, the Sly thing, I don't believe. I believe that Sly was connected to the clinic, anti-aging clinic. He might have met Peyton Manning in passing. Manning and his wife were there getting treatments of some sort. And he's using that name and a bunch of other names, Brian Howard, to try and trying to sell his pills, because I saw the documentary, to you people using names. Oh, yeah, I helped this guy, and I was involved with this guy, but he really wasn't. But the one thing that rang true was the Mannings do have a house basically on Miami Beach in a condo. And when he said that there were shipments made to Peyton Manning's wife, that one can't be made up. I mean, part of it could be, but he was aware at least that they had a place in Miami Beach. That's not a well-known fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, Charles Sly, he comes across, as being somewhat believable in the documentary when you watch it. But obviously he recanted his story right afterwards. But it's hard to say what to believe.
Still has a life. The other aspect is Peyton Manning. Does it remain though that the story is? And I talk to so many people who say, I'm pulling for Peyton to finish it, but I don't think he will. Is that still the major story?
That seems to be the narrative right now. Most people are, at least, that I've seen on social media and that I've seen, giving their take or their opinion on TV have said, my mind tells me it's going to be Carolina Panthers to win, and my heart says I want Peyton to go out a champ. So
it's a heart, head. Mark Kiszla picked the Broncos to win 26-24. I picked them for Sunday's paper to win 24-23. We think maybe the Panthers on this big stage for the first time may have some issues.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it seems like, they're here. They're just kind of living it up, and all this is new to them. And Broncos are here to finish the job from 2 years ago. So
great.
We'll see. Well, I got.
I know you got to work.
I've got some trending stories for you if you want to talk about them. So, Emmanuel Sanders. I was talking to Cameron Wolf, our Broncos reporter, about Emmanuel Sanders, and he thinks that Emmanuel's going to be the X factor in this game because you look at Josh Norman covering Demaryius Thomas, and then on the other side, Emmanuel Sanders will most likely be guarded by a guy that they signed off the street in Week 15.
Robert McClain.
Do you think that Sanders will be the X factor?
I would use Demaryius Thomas more as a decoy. You can still get the bubble screen to him. You can still work him against Josh Norman. But go to Emmanuel Sanders, I've said all week, 11, 14 times during the game because he can beat Robert McClain. And Emmanuel has said some strong words about, I want to be a star. I want to be a great receiver in the league. I think this is his opportunity to shine. And other than the Pittsburgh game, I've never seen him drop a pass. He made some great catch, a great catch against the New England Patriots. I think he could go off big in this game.
I think he could too, and I love the line that Troy Rank says about him a lot. He's as tough as truck stop jerky.
What else?
He seems to catch it all. The other thing I got for you, we have a story coming out on Matt Paradis.
Paradis.
Yeah. He has been this anchor in the middle of the line. Played the most snaps. I think he's the only player.
Never missed a step.
I think only player to play them all on the offense, or maybe the whole team actually.
Sure. Yeah.
And we did this nice piece on him here. Do you think he's going to be the anchor of this offensive line going forward?
I think he's Tom Nalen. I think he's a guy that grew into his job. I actually said he might have been the most valuable player on the offense because a rookie coming in at center, having to call formations, call plays. He didn't have a bad snap all year. I had talked to him in training camp and did a story on his upbringing and how he was a country boy, played 8-man football. I think he's sort of a forgotten guy, but he went into Utah, and he was the next big thing at Utah to Ryan Clady being there. And he said, he told me at the time, Ryan Clady had a lot of influence on him and helped him, and the Broncos took a shot at him, and he's, I think, played it extremely well on an offensive line that has been up and down, bad, mediocre, somewhat good, but with different players out, Sembrell out, Clady out before the season. Then you have Evan Mathis come in. You got Garcia in and out of the lineup, but switching sides, injuries across there. Tyler Columbus being signed off the street, basically. Ryan Harris. Matt Paradis has been sort of the concrete of that whole offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Anything else?
You guys talked about Roger Goodell's press conference at all?
Yeah, that he addressed the Peyton Manning and said the investigation's going on, but there's not a lot of leaks coming out like, or stuff that's coming out like it did in Deflategate. Anything else come out of his press conference?
One other thing that was interesting, at least for people in Colorado, he was asked about the issue of marijuana in football and whether or not it should be, they should change the ban and reverse the ban and allow players to use that for medical purposes. And he basically said, no, we're not looking at that. As long as there's not any new information about what it can do, we're gonna hold pat with it. So
sure, I think it's a delicate issue. It's a time bomb issue for them in regard to, at some point they are going to have to address it. But right now it's kind of like how people address the tobacco industry years and years ago. They keep their head in the sand, and they won't deal with the issue that probably 3/4 of the players in the NFL either have tried it, experimented with it, or are using it now. Dan, thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks for having
coming
me.
over. And tomorrow, 11 o'clock, Denver time, will be the wrap-up leading up to the Super Bowl on DenverPost.com.
Yep.
And on DPTV.
That's right.
A lot of excitement then. Maybe John Labo will be on there. Let me tell you about Siltahar Motors in Broomfield. If you're looking for a Lincoln SUV, they've got two kinds. If you're looking for your first car or your dream car, I love the people up there. They're having fun. They were actually very creative in their commercials. They have an array of cars you're not going to believe. They're Fords, they're Lincolns, all the Ford products, and of course, place in town where you can get a Maserati, you can get an Aston Martin or a Jaguar. And the point is, if you're not interested, just go over there and visit Siltahar Ford. Citywide Banks, Colorado owned, family focused, Citywide Banks. Please take care of them. Citywide, and we'll be right back on the sports show.
I am Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
At Citywide Banks,
We put you first by exceeding your service expectations every day.
Every day.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one. I can work out like one. I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
This is the Sports Show with Woody Paige, and we're sponsored by a bunch of different people, and we'll talk about them, but Derek Carr is with us. And we've talked about you all week because we believe in Denver that the Raiders are going to win the AFC West next year. You have matured since the two games that I saw you play against the Broncos last year.
Yeah.
You didn't have a great array of wide receivers at the time. You were facing pass rushes. It seemed to me, and I'm trying to be fair, you can respond, that there was some indecision, trying to get the ball off against, and you were playing against the Jack Del Rio defense at the time. This year, I see a totally different quarterback. I see a guy that's mature, confident.
Yeah.
But how would you describe what's happened from year one to year two?
I think you hit it right on the head. Just the maturing, getting older, the experience that I gained my rookie year, and then the confidence. Some of the the best quarterbacks in this league are the ones that are the most confident. If I think about, you think about Peyton, you think about Tom,
Brady,
you think about Cam, you think about Aaron Rodgers,
Drew
Brees, Ben. They're all the most confident players on the field. And so that's one thing that I really worked on is there's no reason I shouldn't go into a game the most confident person in the world.
Well, and you were in college.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You were the most, when I saw you play in college because of where you played, you had all the confidence in the world.
Yes, sir.
And suddenly it kind of, because you're going to the next level.
Oh, yeah.
But I saw a world of difference in you.
Thank you.
It helps to have Amari Cooper.
Yes.
This team with Mac.
Yes.
Only guy I ever know that was drafted, that was picked to the all-pro team at two different positions, inside and outside.
Unbelievable.
And with we're talking about, I love Dan Williams. I went to Tennessee. Peyton Manning said to Dan Williams, I've loved him. I wanted the Broncos to sign him when he became a free agent. He came from Arizona, where he was a great player.
Yes.
Joined, just stabilized the middle on defense. Charles Woodson's playing the last game, but he gave you some great leadership, which I'm sure he was passing along to the secondary in the salary cap space.
Yeah.
And I'm just touching on a few of the players you have, but such a promising future.
Yes.
Except the uncertainty of the franchise location.
Right. No, that's the only thing, and, to us as players, it's not a big deal, because we're just going to show up and play football. It's really actually harder for the families, trying to find a school for your kids, trying to find a church that you're going to go to, but all those things. But like you said, salary cap-wise, the young talent we have, everything is set perfectly for us to, build forward and make a push, here for the next 10 years.
I love to get to be good friends with Jack Del Rio. He's from that area. Mm-hmm. He's a hardcore Bay Area guy.
Yep.
Grew up here, hard-nosed. And I think the second time you're a head coach, you know how to approach it better. And he seemed like he was in total control of his environment there in Oakland.
No, you're exactly right. You know, when he comes out of the tunnel or when he walks on the field, there's a presence. You know, there's a presence that that's their leader. You know, that's their guy. And you know, for us to have that, guy that when he steps foot on the field, we all follow his suit. You know, whatever his message is, that's the message I'm relaying. That's the message that everyone else is relaying. And to have that it's a real special thing.
Are you just here to enjoy because it's right here where you are?
Yeah.
To get a flavor of it, hoping that soon you'll be here? I mean, what sort of ways are you enjoying it? B, has it kind of influenced you about, this motivated you?
Yeah. You know, like you said, this is just a cool experience to have this right in my backyard, to be able to come here and do this and have all of our great Raider fans that are here and full force, it's just so awesome, but at the same time, I'll never go to a Super Bowl until I play in one. That's my mindset. Even when my brother was in one in New York, I didn't even go to that one.
He was in 2, wasn't he?
Well, he missed it by 1 year the first time. Yeah, because he bounced back. But he made it to the second one, and I didn't even go to that one, didn't even get to go to that one. So this right here is motivation enough. You're in the NFL, you have a chance to do it someday, but just to come here and see what the Super Bowl does to a city, is something that you want to be a part of.
You beat the Broncos. You played them close, but I think they only had one offensive. No, they didn't have an offensive touchdown, I don't think, in either game. Forgive me, there was a guy who got lucky, named Chris Harris Jr.
Yeah, we know that one.
I shouldn't go that, but the defense played well against them in 2 games. Jack Del Rio, obviously knowing a lot.
Yeah.
But you beat them once. Panthers have only lost once.
Yeah.
How are you looking at this game from the outside?
Yeah.
Are you an AFC West guy? Are you a Cam Newton guy, a Peyton Manning story at the end? Or are you just saying, I'm just going to look at it from afar and enjoy it?
I'm just such a big sports fan. I'm like the normal sports fan. I just want to see a good game, I just love football. I love what Cam's doing. Ryan Khalil is another, good friend of my brother's. I've gotten to know him really well and, rooting for him too. But at the same time, I'm rooting for the Broncos as well, to represent the AFC West, obviously. We were able to, sneak one on them. We were able to go get them, at their place. And to say that, they won the Super Bowl and we beat them one time would be kind of like another motivating thing. So either way it goes, I'll be happy. I can never say that I'm rooting for the Broncos, but definitely,
those guys,
they might get mad.
I tell you what, and you've learned this. People have this concept of those people that are in the black hole with the spikes and everything. I hang out with them when I come out there.
Yeah.
And those guys are lawyers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
People think they're homeless people off the street.
Right.
That is a great group of people.
Yeah.
People think of, oh man, you got to stay away from those. That fan base there. That's why I would hate to see the team leave Oakland. I'd like to see them get it because the people followed the team to L.A. when it went there, and it came back, love with it. And the economic times in Oakland are not the best in the world.
Yeah.
And to be building stadiums these days for a baseball team and a football team is difficult, but I hope it works out because I know that you've got that Raiders Nation philosophy of your own now.
Oh, I love Raider Nation. I do. And, growing up, my brothers had Raider jackets. My dad had Raider shirts, all that. My uncle played for the Raiders, and so it's in our family's blood, And so, just to be there, my favorite thing is pregame. We warm up in the black hole spot, and just to hear them, their loyalty, how proud they are of us, all those things, no matter what. The black hole, the Raider Nation it's one of a kind, and I really love them.
No, and you have to love that the Raiders organization had enough faith in you when a lot of people are going, really? Should he be drafted? You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Should he be drafted that high? A lot of people look at you and think of your brother, who I liked a lot.
Yep.
And he was in unfortunate circumstances, and his career didn't turn out to be the best in the world, but he's in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And so there were a lot of things kind of mystifying about you.
Yeah.
Would you agree? And you've shown that you certainly not only belong, but you are going to succeed in the game. And it's really nice of you to come by. And,
yes, sir.
Yeah. Take care of all these people on your way out.
Yes, sir.
Have fun, enjoy it, but
Yes,
you
sir.
told me you're not going to go to the game.
Yeah, I won't be there.
And when I see you the next time, you can just say Woody.
All
yes,
right.
sir. Makes me. I am old. You know, my favorite. One of my favorite people, and I'll end on this. I was in college same time he was. We became friends when he was with the Raiders. We played in charity golf tournaments. He invited me down to Redneck country in South Alabama. We just lost Kenny Stabler, and I don't know if you've actually been able to watch films of him, but he was one of the most unique players I've ever seen. Lefty.
Yeah.
He would scramble. He had some great wide receivers and tight ends.
Yeah.
And just a great guy. And I don't know whether you got to spend much time with him.
No. Yeah, not much time, but, you know, obviously all the Raider greats come by, and they speak so highly of him, so I feel like I do know him.
Well, there have been some incredible quarterbacks that preceded you. The Mad Bomber was a great quarterback.
He's a Fresno guy.
Jim Plunkett was a fantastic player.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
They had a lot of very good players at the end of their career at quarterback that were run through Oakland, and maybe you're in a situation now that for the next 15 years you'll be the new Peyton Manning.
Yes, sir.
In regard to that.
Yes, sir.
Wish you well.
Thank you, Woody.
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate
Keep watching around the horn.
Yeah,
maybe
I will.
someday Wayne Gretzky wants to come on and take my place, so you could come off during the off season.
I wouldn't mind. I would love to.
You have to have the blackboard.
Oh yeah, you got to write on it though.
There it is.
You'd have to write on it for me.
No, that's what she does. She does the penmanship.
There we go.
You guys would, when he walks off, put his name on there and take a picture of him with it.
Yeah, that'd be
he
awesome.
could send to his friends. Hey, thanks again.
Thanks, Woody.
The Sports Show. One of the best. How do you follow that up? Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. If you are having sexual problems, he is at 720-440-7900, Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one.
Follow that. Well, you can do it. You're strong. You can do it.
It's not even fair. That's not even fair. Like, they're all going to disappear slowly but surely. I hope you didn't want them to stick around.
When you get up, you'll have to work the crowd like they do.
I'll sign
That's why I
autographs.
don't get up, because they. He was calling me Mr. and Sir and stuff, and I said, next time I see you next year, I expect you to be calling me Woody and stuff. and he seems to be right for Raiders Nation. That Derek Carr is a guy that a lot of people wondered about him. Was he going to be like his brother, who, as I told him, didn't have a great career, or was he being drafted too high? And this year, I thought he emerged and improved as a quarterback and almost beat the Broncos twice.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. The week here, first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Broncos beat writer. Go to the Super Bowl. Now, you'll be like the rookie players. You'll expect to go to the Super Bowl every year and have your team in it.
I'm a little spoiled right now. I'll admit that. This is pretty amazing. It's crazy, but it's amazing.
Of all the things, and I talked to one of your compatriots yesterday. It's his first Super Bowl, and I said, what is it that you found out that you didn't know about covering and being around the Super Bowl? What you went, wow, I didn't realize this.
I had heard it was a circus, like a controlled chaos type of environment.
Sounds like my hair.
This is more than what I expected. I guess I am impressed at how well it's run. Like having media shuttle back and forth to Santa Clara, that's insane. You get to see firsthand how much money is in all of this. It's a little disgusting. It's mind blowing, but.
Hi there, Radar Nation people. It's a game, but it's big business.
It is. It's huge business.
I mean, right over here is like a mall of Super Bowl products that will pay for most of everything that happens at the Super Bowl. Your feeling as it gets closer.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about the game. The game's kind of lost during the course of the week. Mark Kiszla and I were discussing earlier. We both picked the Broncos, and my major emphasis for doing that is the defense being healthy.
Yep.
And we suspect that both players, TJ Ward and Damian Stewart, if not at 100%, will be able to function on the field. Broncos winning the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and everybody talks about the blowout then. They had 9 players that were hurt, that couldn't play.
No Wolf, no Harris, no Vaughn. I mean, I don't know if you can – this defense would be anything like it is without those guys.
One of the linebackers, it was decimated on defense and had some really the Broncos about as healthy as this team could be.
Yep.
That, and I'm not sure Carolina on this big stage for the first time.
Yep.
I've seen 40-something Super Bowls. I've seen teams that show a lot of confidence, and it's almost fake confidence.
Right.
Because they're tired of the thing. So, give me your impressions of what you think is going to happen.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be the Broncos. I have this feeling that defense is going to come through once again. Peyton, he just needs to not turn the ball over, frankly. But this defense, I think that 2013 loss, for the guys that were there, that has stuck with them. The guys that were injured especially, that has really stuck with them.
Von Miller talking about it.
And then the guys that they signed right after, kind of in response to how badly they got beat, I think they understand the magnitude. I mean, you think about where Talib, they came over on the same flight to be signed the same day as kind of like the rebuilding process for that unit. They understand what's at stake here. This is Aqib's first Super Bowl. I think they get it, you know?
Yeah. Owen Daniels in the AFC Championship. Could it be? We keep waiting for Vernon Davis. He's been in the Super Bowl. He's the guy who could catch. He's been a waste of time since I got him.
Yep.
Could Vernon Davis, could Virgil Green, could Owen Daniels, that tight end trio, and they'll be using a lot of 2 and 3 tight end formations. Emmanuel Sanders, if they use Demaryius Thomas as a decoy against Josh Norman for the most part. Brandon Marshall spying on, in your mind, 2 or 3 things either that you agree with something I've raised or something that you've said and thought during the week. It's going to be so critical to this game. Matchups and stuff.
I think you'd be a fool to count out Vernon Davis just because he hasn't had that huge play or that big game yet. He was brought here for a reason, and like you said, they're going to use multiple tight end sets, so you'd be foolish to count him out. I think Demaryius needs to have a good game. You got to get him involved more. He's got to catch the ball. And I think Ronnie Hillman, I think he knows he needs this game maybe more than anybody because of his contract situation. He really needs a huge game, and obviously their run game is incredibly important to this offense. So,
and you bring up something about Ronnie Hillman, but let's talk. DeMarcus Ware's auditioning for somebody, whether it comes back to the Broncos at a diminished contract, which I don't think will happen, or if there's a team out there, oh boy, he's a guy we could use for a year or two, that he's going to be a mercenary around the league, that Brandon Marshall's in a situation where somebody might make a run at him like the Oakland Raiders. That's what I've heard. That Malik Jackson, to me, they got to bring him back. But then the questions they've signed,
Derek Wolfe,
I mean, there are a lot of guys that are playing Brock Osweiler, who's not going to probably play in the game unless Peyton's hurt or things go badly. But there are a lot of guys on this team that are in situations where they're thinking, I'm sure, as they're sitting in a hotel room saying, this game is going to be critical of my future.
They got a lot of guys coming up for free agency. I think there's only probably a handful of them where, this game could really sway the decision one way or the other. I think Malik maybe. That Derek Wolfe deal really hurt him. I don't know if they're going to be able to bring him back. But I think Danny, if he has a good game, they could really use him. And kind of, to me, it's always seemed like they've kind of favored Marshall over Danny if they had to pick one over the other. But if Danny's had a great season, if he shows out in this game, a huge game, do you let him go or do you make room for him?
Well, I've said, don't bring back Ryan Clady. Get that money. Don't bring back Peyton Manning. You got that money. If you don't bring back Evan Mathis, if you don't bring back both guards, you get that's a ton of money right there. If you don't bring back Vernon Davis, not going to be back. If you don't bring back DeMarcus Ware, that's adding up to some pretty good money that you can use for a Trevathan and for Malik Jackson, who I think are pivotal to keeping around.
And I think this game could go a long way toward giving Ware a chance to play out his final season on the full 10. They could ask him to restructure it, but if he has an incredible game, he may make a case for another team to pick it up. I don't know. It's hard to do at this point in his career.
And Shaq Bear waiting there.
Depth hurts him.
And we know that John Elway, the people he's chosen, he likes to get in the lineup. We saw with Schofield, for instance, and with Latimer. Latimer's had a lousy year, and Schofield is considered one of the worst right tackles in the league. Final thing. Of all the stuff you experienced, I asked you earlier what surprised you. What was not maybe the funniest thing, but the most, or what just got you smiling about all of this? Was there a moment?
I saw Ryan Reynolds over there. I mean, come on, Woody. I saw Ryan. I may or may not have kind of started chasing him on my way over here. But I saw Ryan Reynolds, career highlight, probably going to retire now. I saw Snoop Dogg yesterday, who obviously is my life idol. So
we had Josh Bummel, who was in Transformers and is coming out in a new movie, who's married to Fergie, and he's a great actor.
Josh Duhamel? Oh.
He's from North Dakota, and we talked about North Dakota mostly, but he's a good-looking guy.
He's not too bad.
Yeah. Well, enjoy.
Why don't you tell me when you have these people on? Come on, Woody.
There's been a spate of them that you've missed during the course, and you just saw one of them. Derek Carr's not a bad guy. So maybe you should hang around more often. I try to help you. Were you able to get that story? Were you able to get into that story?
It is coming out.
Oh, really?
It is, but Groke wanted to do it. So Groke is writing a good story on.
Can we explain? We're promoting the stories.
So there's this fan. His name is Don. He's been to all 49 Super Bowls, which is pretty amazing. He's from the Denver area. And he's being honored as one of only 7 fans to have been to all 49 Super Bowls, which is really remarkable. It's a lot of money spent.
And 4 journalists, 3 writers, and a photographer.
Yep.
So those 11 people were being honored here.
Yep.
And they've seen every game. And so
pretty remarkable.
I look forward to that story. I wish you'd have done it, though, because I gave it to you, and you then lateraled to somebody else. Thank you, Nikki. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll hang out with you at the Super Bowl, as we always do. Bring a jacket, because it's going to be cold. Oh, it's going to be cold. It's in 60. Guess what? When you come out of there, you're going to say, it's like Houston. Let me tell you about Siltahar Motors out in Broomfield. Are you a car person at all?
I have one.
That's all that matters. If you are not interested in a car, this is a terrible way to do a commercial. Go out to Siltahar Motors. They have Maseratis, Jaguars, and Aston Martin, including the one that was just in the new James Bond movie. But if you're looking for Lincoln SUV, Fords, Ford Escape, they have more cars, and they make the point they will want to help you. They're really fun people to deal with your first car and with your dream car. Also want to tell you about Papa John's 18 special this week. You can stay there. This week, put in your online order Broncos 18, 2 pizzas, 3 toppings at the new Papa John's. Celebrate the weekend with a pizza.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one, I can work out like one, I can can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
Yeah, we were excited to earlier have an opportunity to visit with Lee Steinberg, the model for the movie Jerry Maguire and Tom Cruise, and one of the great agents in the history of representation. He's had probably 20 first-round draft choices, quarterbacks. He's got the best quarterback in this draft, Paxton Lynch, University of Memphis, and the two of them joined us earlier today. We want you to hear that interview.
Sports Show. I'm Mark Kiszla. This is Paxton Lynch, Memphis quarterback.
Yes, sir.
NFL draft prospect and agent Lee Steinberg. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
Tell me this. At what – okay. Though America watches you beat Mississippi, and they go, that guy is good.
Yeah.
That guy is an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
When did you know that the NFL was your future and you could compete at any level?
Yeah, growing up, I always had the dream of obviously playing in the NFL. And this season, halfway through the season, we were undefeated, and then we beat Ole Miss, and that's when the buzz really started happening. And after that, it kind of got crazy, and Coach Fuente, kind of set me down and just talked me through a couple things and kept my head on straight. And I just wanted to make sure that those guys on that team, didn't think I was looking forward to going to the NFL and hearing all this stuff. I was more worried about the team and winning ball games.
How crazy was the buzz? Because, you've worked all your life to be an outstanding college quarterback, and then the world does discover you in, 3 hours or less.
It was crazy. I didn't have that many Twitter followers, Instagram followers. I still don't. But after that game, it started blowing up. I had to take my profile off private because there was too many people I had to accept. But it was exciting. It was definitely an experience.
Lee, what attracted you to this young man as an athlete and as a person?
Well, first of all, as a person, it was his sense of values. He's faith-based, comes out of a warm and loving family. I watched how his teammates responded to him. They all love him, his roommates. So it's character. And then we talked about role modeling, and Paxton was interested in retracing his roots to the different level. When he went off between the end of his sophomore season, in spring ball already you could see this enormous elevation. And sometimes it just takes a little while for all to be able to read the field and to come together. But I think that he's got the most upside of anyone in the draft and is part of this new mode with huge quarterbacks who also have the ability to escape the pocket.
Right.
And so you look at Cam Newton, you maybe a little bit of Blake Bortles, Ben Roethlisberger, who could run a little better. And so Paxton presents a overwhelming package, and I believe is a franchise quarterback.
Okay, 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was almost a maximum height for quarterbacks. Dan McGuire, he was, 6'8"? And people said, that's too big. Well, were you always unusually tall?
Yeah.
Were you a basketball player? And did anybody say, hey, maybe you can play tight end or wide receiver, but you're too dang big to be a quarterback?
Well, actually, growing up, I played running back.
Oh, yeah?
And
you're too dang big to be a running back. There's too much target there, man.
Yeah, I did have – that was true now.
Okay.
I was too big to play running back, so my high school coach said, you got to play quarterback sooner or later or receiver or something, but I just wanted to have the ball in my hands when it came down to it. So quarterback was a position for me, and ever since then, I really haven't looked back.
Where's the evolution of the quarterback go? Because I was thinking about this week. I called, in some ways, Cam Newton, John Elway 2.0. when Elway comes into the league in 1983, he's 6'3", about 220, and that was huge. But now Cam Newton is, 6'6", and maybe 250, 260. How big can a quarterback get?
Well, I think you have a test tube example with Paxton, who's as tall as anyone. I represented Dan McGuire. But see, here's the combination. He's that tall, but if you watch him run, he looks like he's 6 foot. And he runs like a much smaller guy. And he can do the short out, the medium out. He can throw every type of ball. And then you get 3rd and 1, and I watched him elongate his body to get a first down in a way that's sort of hard. So we go in trends in the NFL.
Yes.
And if you look at the success of Cam Newton is the MVP. So I think that they're redefining quarterback, and Paxton will be part of that new wave.
Well, let's get down to business. Panini and their officially licensed trading cards.
Right.
They're going to need a bigger card for you, man.
Yeah, life-size fatheads.
Yeah. And you've got a skills camp this weekend?
Yep.
Is it today or is it when is it?
This afternoon?
Yep, it is later today.
I'm old enough. I love football cards and I love baseball cards. Coming back? Is that something?
Yeah, I know growing up I collected cards, baseball cards and football cards, and Pokemon was cool when I was a kid.
There you go. Now you're identifying your generation.
Yeah.
From Pokemon to the NFL. I like that.
Yeah, I used to have a bunch of little folders of all the cards with the plastic pages. You slide the card on the top of it. So I had all of that, and I got here last night, and Chris comes to the airport to pick me up, and he pulls out a big cardboard box full of trading cards with my picture on it from Panini, and it was a dream come true, honestly, to have my own trading card.
That's cool. Last thing, are you a Texas kid?
Yes, I was born in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, did you grow up in Texas?
I was born in San Antonio and moved to Florida when I was about 1 or 2. So.
How did you end up at Memphis?
Well, playing, I got hurt my senior year, missed about 5 games. Last 5 games, played pretty well, then got an invite to the All-Star game, local All-Star game. Played pretty well then, and then after that, that's when I really started kind of getting noticed. And then Memphis came to the house and recruited me. And signing day, Memphis also offers me my scholarship. UCF calls me late.
Yeah.
But obviously I honor my commitment, and Memphis was a place for me, and that's how I got to Memphis.
And it's worked out pretty darn good.
And the rest is history.
All right. Well, listen, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Lee, always a pleasure, sir.
Our pleasure.
Thank you very much.
This segment brought to you by the New York Daily News on Hamden, just east of I-25. Not only is it a New York delicatessen, it is Denver's best delicatessen, one of Denver's best restaurants for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I've talked about it. Anything from prime rib to a pastrami sandwich, anything from a great breakfast with that corned beef hash, which is my favorite breakfast in Denver, to spaghetti night. It's incredible. We invite you to go over there. Great, friendly service. Alan Torrey will take care of you. If you're looking for someone to cater your event, be it a birthday party, a bar mitzvah, a conference, a convention, they can take care of you. One of Denver's best catering services. They do an incredible job for you. And they do so many catered events that if you're thinking about that, think about New York Daily News. Breakfast, great sandwiches for lunch, great dinners. Alan Torrey will take care of you. We're so excited to have this strange guy walk by that of all the stories I read this week about all the people that are connected with the Broncos, the two that were so interesting to me was I went out and visited John Ralston, who put together the first Super Bowl team and then was fired. And then Jake Plummer talked about what your relationship with Pat Bowlen, that John Ralston is suffering from Alzheimer's. Pat Bowlen suffering from Alzheimer's, but I thought the story, Jake Plummer,
Woody,
greatest quarterback of all time. And we'll promote all the stuff you're doing and everything. But the story you told about your friendship, but how Pat Bowlen, when the NFL was coming down so hard on you, that you could not wear a memorial to one of your closest friends, and Pat Bowlen actually helped you. For the people who didn't see that story,
it was awesome, because he could sense that I was upset by it, and I think what Pat Bowlen has done through his ownership of the Broncos is phenomenal. 300 victories, now more than that in 30 years. He's just laid it down as how you have to be when you are part of this organization. You have to care about other people. You have to be genuine. You got to understand when things aren't good, who do you lean on? You don't go to someone new. You trust the people that are there in the building. And I think when he did that for me, it was more to keep me from worrying about things and not focused on what was really important, which was winning football games. But he knew that Pat was near and dear to me, and he saw that. And what he did was really classy, and that's really a word that
and he put his jersey number up.
He
on
put
the
40
wall
up, 40 up by the play clock for me, and I wanted to wear the number on my helmet more than just one game. And a guy like Pat, we're finding out now for the NFL is they still honor him, but why could I not wear that number? It was just a number.
Well, it's the thing, and you've seen it. Players are trying to honor their fathers of others, and they'll put eye black with on it. I don't see but the same league that wouldn't allow that will have George Halas's initials year after year after year.
Yeah.
Forgive me, but he died a long time ago, and we move on. But it's okay if it's sanctioned by the league, but if it's a player genuinely trying to do something for Iron Man Hayward, for his dad who's sick,
that and then we wear football Americano sticker a couple weeks after Pat's sticker, and I'm thinking, what? What? Okay, globally growing the game or honoring your players. I ran into Donnie Edwards last night at the Legends Lounge, and he told me something that people out there listening, look into this. There's been 23 other NFL football players that have walked away from the game and lost their lives fighting for our country. 23.
I didn't realize
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
He's a historian, Donnie Edwards, and does a lot of cool stuff. He told me that, and I was shocked to hear that. So out there, Pat Tillman, yes, legend. Yes, genuine badass dude that you should honor and know about. But there's 22 other guys out there that have done the same thing or similar thing to Pat that should also be honored and talked about. But, hey, speaking of Pat, we're talking Pat Bowlen now. This team's motivated for many, many reasons, and one of them is him, for sure.
Peyton, Pat, I think, and DeMarcus Ware.
It's a family, this organization.
I've got to ask you about and what you're doing now, but I have great respect for you. I was the first writer to interview you when you came to the Denver Broncos, and what I genuinely liked about you, you're your own man. You still remain your own man. You reminded me of a guy that I got to know real well, Bill Walton. That when he played the game, he still could be his own spirit.
Yeah.
If that's and then when you walked away from the game proudly, you kind of went off on your own for a while, but then you reemerged. What do you think that time away, and why did you really come back to what is now a prominent role in media and in dealing with charities and life? I've always been curious about that.
I knew that football was always going to be a part of my life, but I needed to get away from the game because of the intense ride that I had been on for 14 years if you count ASU to be serious big-time football. And in this, Herm Edwards today, talking with him on the radio, he said, you don't make a career out of football, it's an opportunity. So I knew it wouldn't last forever, and my ability to leave the game and walk away and just get completely away from it, it helped me think back at all the great things I accomplished, all the great people I met, all the lives I was able to influence in such a positive way just for playing a sport. You go up in Boise, Idaho, you don't look in the mirror and think I'm the best in the world. I would like to try to be someday, but you don't automatically think that or assume that. You have to build that. And so when I became who I was and did what I did, I knew that I held a special gift in my hand to make people feel good, to be happy. And I've always tried to give back to people. And so coming back into the game and back into the fold was encouraged by Mr. Bolin.
Huh?
He invited me when I moved back to Colorado to come sit in the suite. And it was my first time ever going to a football game as a fan, other than one time I went to a Super Bowl and actually sat in the stands and watched the game. I was in their suite, and I was like a caged bird. I needed to get out of there, Woody. I had to get out of there.
It's like the press box.
I couldn't.
Press box, the worst place to watch a game.
I couldn't do it. I mean, it smelled like perfume and guys in jackets and women in high
here's the
heels.
shrimp, yeah.
There's a window there, and I can't hear or smell anything. And I said, I got to get out of here. And that was Pat who brought me back. And I roamed the stadium, and I watched the game from the tunnel, from a walkway to the mezzanine. The security guards let me watch the game there. I had tears flowing in my eyes, and I watched Peyton Manning run out of that tunnel, and it really had dawned on me, that used to be me. And this crowd would go crazy for me. Yeah. And when we won, after that first game Peyton played in Invesco against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I sat out on the grass as everybody funneled out of that stadium, and they're chanting, "Go Broncos, yeah, we're number one." And I soaked it in like I never had the opportunity to do, because we're in the locker room, we're doing press, we're
trying
getting
to
dressed,
sneak out
we're
a
leaving.
back door.
Yeah, you know, but sitting there and hearing that, I went, man, I used to make this many people leave this building in such a euphoric state that how can I not own this and be so proud of what I accomplished? And that really brought me back to the game.
I thought that's good that you could be reflective and say, oh, now I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Because players always say, well, maybe I'll understand it once I get away from it. You actually.
It happens. And I'm not sitting back worried or mad about what I didn't accomplish. Yeah, I didn't make it to a Super Bowl. I didn't win a Super Bowl.
You were this
but you know
close
what? I look back at what I did accomplish. And I also look back at that special gift that I hold in my hands to stop and take a selfie with the dude over here waiting. And it may be the story he tells his grandchildren. I bet it's Jake the Snake at the Radio Row. That's a special gift to have. When I look in the mirror every day and go, I'm just some dude with a shaggy beard and long hair sometimes it's short. But I'm just a guy. I'm just a person. But to have that ability to make someone feel that special, you got to be careful with it.
And I think you can enjoy it now.
I love it. It's so much fun. I love going to the games and bumping into fans. And what I did was amazing, and I loved it.
Tell people what you're doing now, though. You are involved in media. You're involved in life, and
I got called by the Pac-12 to start working for them, and
I was over I was over at that building. I did a ESPN Around the Horn the other day over there. That is a great studio complex.
It's a nice place. They did a really good job, and so being in the ground floor of that and being able to get into that, relatively easy with no training or anything. They wanted me to come do it.
You have training? You have ability to.
I've learned one thing about when you're in this industry, whether it's TV, radio, or whatever, if you're not a good guy, you won't last. So the guys that are around and the guys on TV and the guys I work with, they're all good guys, and they're fun to be around. So I do enjoy working for the Pac-12. They don't require me to be there every weekend, which is really nice. Can pick and choose. Do a few games with Sports USA Media, NFL games on the radio.
Sure.
I do a podcast called Snakes Takes weekly. Had Mark Schlereth last week on. It was great catching up with Stink. And do some radio stuff and then spend time with my family. I spend a lot of time with my wife and two boys and basically enjoy the fruits of my labor and enjoy life.
Brian Griese, when he played for the Denver Broncos, this prior to you getting there, and we've had some we didn't have a good relationship. We now have great conversations. Yeah. Once he kind of came back, he lost his mother early, and it kind of influenced his father was a quarterback. And he said his body wouldn't do what his mind wanted him to. That he was brave. He's one of the highest scorers on the Wonderlic test and everything. Yeah. Brian, incredibly smart guy. Now he's back in the meeting. He said, "What advice would you give me?" And I said, "Tell me something I don't know."
Yeah.
I said, "I tell people what they know." I said, "Always liked somebody who played the game." I know he's a big tight end. I get tired of hearing big tight end. How many small tight ends are? I get tired of, here's the score. I said, you played the game, and you played the game. You played the most important position on the field. You could tell me stuff I don't know, and that's what people want.
Yeah.
And when I picked you up, Brian is doing that. He's gotten to the top of the rung.
He's doing good. Yeah, he's
with
good.
CBS, and you're doing that now. You got the media. You get it. Yeah. Both of you get it. I think, tell me something I don't know because I was not on the field.
Well, thank you for that. It's hard to be authentic in some degree because we're kind of repeating stories that have happened 50 years ago. You know, it's just a different time, different place. But to put a different spin on it sometimes is good. It's hard at times to be authentic and come up with something that someone doesn't know. But one thing that I learned early was the knowledge that comes out of my brain when someone asks me about a quarterback or what this defense needs to do. It's my own experience coming out and my own knowledge. So how can anybody say I'm right or wrong? As long as I own it. And that's what it is. Own what you say and back it up with something tangible, and you're all good. So I like the game. I don't claim to be the most amazing expert or analyst. I like looking for little subtleties, little things. I'm actually going to say that if Peyton Manning doesn't scramble for a couple first downs, that this team's going to struggle on offense.
Well, I was going to say,
he needs to make a couple plays.
Are you looking at this game with your head or your heart?
Oh, I want the Broncos to win. Gary Kubiak did wonders for me in my career and me as a person, and I love that guy dearly, and I'm so happy he came in under extreme pressure. They fired a coach that had been to a Super Bowl in 2 back-to-back 13-3 seasons, and it's like, well, what can Gary do to top that, you know? But he has. He's come in here. He's united the crew. He's been himself. He's checked his ego at the door and worked together with some of the greatest football players of all time, John Elway and Peyton Manning, to work and struggle and climb and claw to get here to this game. And it's awesome that they're here.
I wrote last Sunday, though, this is his opportunity, and he's reluctant, but this is his opportunity to come out of the shadows of all of. And I don't know that he wants to do that, but if he wins this game, he coached Steve Young, coached you. He coached John Elway, was John's caddy and backup and best friend. He's coached Peyton Manning. He's had to go through all this stuff, and he's always managed to kind of stay out of the limelight. Yeah. He's not going to be able to if they win this game.
No. I mean, he gets credit for the coach that he is, you know, and the ability he has to relate to his players, the ability that he has to, like I mentioned, to check his ego at the door and not make this about him. Yeah. But a good coach knows it isn't about him. It's about his players and his team and their success. And that's what I was able to experience with him as a player. Was he wanted me to excel so much so that he would go toe-to-toe with Shanahan to tailor that game plan to make sure that I knew what I was doing if I felt comfortable. And so I know that he's doing the same thing now for all of his players.
I stopped you, but you were going that Peyton Manning, according to Kubiak and people that I know at practice this week, has been crisper with his passes. He's been running. And you were about to say that. We saw him take off and run, which hasn't happened to that distance since he was a rookie. Do you see a little bit of the rollout being more incorporated now that his foot's healthier?
I definitely think that it has to be a part of it. Even if he rolls out and gets sacked for a 6-yard loss, you're doing something by running that play. And that's what Gary always told me. He's like, hey, when I call a rollout, because when I was rolling out, Woody, I wanted to make the throw, man. Part of rolling out was not to throw it out of bounds or slide. It was to make that throw, rolling to your left, through defenders, and do something that even I didn't know I could do. Yeah. Now,
that was your best play, by the way.
Gary told me also.
That was your best play on the field.
And his advice is, this has to come out as a positive. If you just throw it away, it's a positive. And why is because that backside end now, he has to stay honest.
He has to be honest.
And in this offense and in this run game, you will see in the fourth quarter, early actually in the fourth quarter, C.J. Anderson take a ball, cut it back where we have that honest defensive end containing the boot in case it comes, and make a big run in a key moment. And that is
which has happened 3 or 4 different times.
It's happened, yes. And last game, Peyton rolled to his right to start the game. You have to do it, and Gary will do it. Now, he's not going to make some of the throws I made or some of these young guys Aaron Rodgers can make, but he's going to make the right decision when he gets out there. And it'll be fun to see Peyton, I think, do some things we might never have seen him do before, like lay it on the line and maybe even dab when he scores. Can we get Peyton Manning to celebrate a touchdown in some way we haven't seen?
He's going to do. He hasn't done it.
Walk off the field.
In 2013, he did the naked bootleg. You were great at it. Yeah. And nobody touched him. He said it works every 5 years. Well, I think it can work this year. So your final thought is that they will or can win the game?
I think they will win the game. And it's going to be a hell of a game.
Everybody's going the other way.
I think that
I'm with you.
All teams of destiny find ways to overcome adversity and have things that internally motivate them. And we got a whole slew of things with the Broncos. I mean, Mr. Bolin, let's do this for Mr. Bolin and Peyton. Let's get him to ride out into the sunset and be done with your career, man. You are amazing. Go enjoy your life afterwards. And then a team that still gets doubted, but a team that loves each other, plays hard, and that's a reflection of their coach, Coach Kubiak, and that whole staff, Dennison, Periani, Phillips. That's a good, tight-knit team that's gone through a lot of adversity this year. Like I said in the beginning of the season, please, fans, stop bitching about this team and enjoy this ride. It's going to be special, and sure enough, it turned out that way.
Sure.
So I'm going.
It took a lot of trial and error to get there.
And great coaching. But both sides of both teams have great coaching. I mean, you got the other side of the ball. Ron Rivera lets his team be who they are, and you got to love that. And as a player, every player that you interview out here today would say, I love that Ron Rivera lets his team be who they are.
And we've seen the evolution of the quarterback of the style you were, of the style John Elway was, an athlete playing quarterback that could run, could throw the football, and now we're seeing like not the end result, but the evolution result.
I'll tell you, we haven't seen a quarterback like this. John Elway was not Cam Newton, neither was I in any degree.
Roethlisberger was
I'm
kind
not
of a
sure if
step
we've
below.
seen anybody like Cam Newton or if we ever will. The kid is amazing. And what he could do on this stage, oh, man, Bronco fans, worry about that. Don't worry about anything else, but worry about what Cam Newton could possibly do. It's an awesome matchup. The young up-and-comer that does stuff you've never seen done before against the old man trying to eke out one more bloody battle and ride off.
And I think you said it earlier, the exuberance that Cam Newton shows, flipping it into the end zone.
Yeah.
That the Superman, the dabbing, all of the stuff that he does. He just brings a joy to the game, and I don't know why people would not like him, but maybe we'll see a little bit more, because I've seen a much more relaxed, calmer Peyton who's having fun with it, bringing his kid to
maybe
the podium.
A tad bit reflective, and that could be a sign of what, I don't know, but he's enjoying it, and I'm glad to see him smiling a little bit, and I hope that he celebrates a touchdown and maybe not a dab, but comes up with his own little dance move. Get people to stop talking about Cam Newton celebrations. That's what I'm going at here. Let's get him to stop talking about some kid having fun and enjoying himself.
Final point, I've been covering the team since 1974. I hope you'll take this as a compliment. The third greatest quarterback ever to play for the Denver Broncos.
Thank you. I'll take that as a huge
difficult
compliment.
with two guys that are first ballot Hall of Famers, but
don't explain yourself, Woody. Put me there as
you're going to be
humbling.
You're going to be an incredible broadcaster. You're a good guy.
Thank you.
It's always been a pleasure to talk to you and know you.
Woody, thank you for
Jake
having me on,
Plummer,
man.
and it's a great way to end our week's worth of shows. We've had about 150 guests, and we ended with the best. Derek Carr was close. He was a fun
That's a
guy.
young up-and-comer right there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Watch that Raiders could be in the Super Bowl next year. You never know.
Papa John's 18 special this weekend. 2 pizzas, 3 toppings. Go to papajohns.com. We'll come back and finish the show in just a moment. Jake Plummer.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one. I can work out like one. I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
We got one more interview for you, and we recorded it earlier, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy Sean Salisbury. And we'll be back, as I said, to finish up the show in just a moment.
It's a sports show. I'm Mark Kiszla, and this is Sean Salisbury.
Mark,
Pleasure to have you here,
honored
man.
to be on, my man.
Yeah.
I've obviously been a fan of yours for a long time, and I love the city of Denver, so it's great to be on with you.
Well, I got so many quarterback questions, and you got the quarterback expertise. Let's start with the one I got to ask on behalf of the city of Denver. Fairy tale ending for Peyton Manning. What do you expect from him? Good, bad, or indifferent?
You know what? I'm one of the few, and I'm not saying it's against him. You know, everybody's got the focus is on number one in Carolina.
Right.
Known the guy a long time. I know what this means to him, I think.
Right.
We've buried and left him for dead a bunch of times this season.
Guilty.
Who hasn't
Yeah.
been? You know what? And this isn't because I'm on this show, and it's not because I have an affinity for Peyton Manning. I know one thing. First of all, if he does walk away, or when he does, we're losing the greatest, most cerebral quarterback we've ever had, who's changed the game a way people prepare.
Okay.
And not only change the game the way quarterbacks prepare, but change the way receivers and running backs and linebackers prepare. I'll tell you why. Because when you have a guy that does that, you don't want to get in his doghouse and you want to keep up with him. And so you say, well, I'm going to match him. He's in at 6. I'm going to get in at 5:45. So it makes it, even without saying anything, it's a challenge to everybody.
Right.
I love him. He's done exactly what he's needed to do, and it's hard, Mark, and you know this, to be the guy who's carried his franchises on his back for 20 years darn near.
Right.
To be able to say you're not the puzzle, you're a piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And for us to win, that defense got to play good, just protect it.
Right.
And
you know, he came into this season, and you know him. He's a high-character person. He's coachable. He's smart.
He's a grinder.
He's all that.
Yep.
But I didn't think he quite bought into the idea as I'll just be a game manager until he got hurt and he had to step back. What are your thoughts?
I couldn't agree more. And I think, because you know what, hey, the ego and the pride of us says I was able to do it. I could still make that throw. And you raise up and want to throw it, and it's like, doesn't quite get there. The legs, and you know this, when the legs start to diminish a little bit, Mark, in all the sports.
Rep.
When Steph Curry, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen, when Steph Curry ever decides his legs are tired, the jump shot's not going to fall like it does. Same at quarterback, but you're right. In losing that job through injury and performance, he gained it back to know, so this is how some of you backups and some of the guys that aren't, this is how you got to go.
Half
yes,
lives.
this is how the rest of this is how the other, the poor half's living.
The mere mortals.
That's exactly right. Those of us who wish we were him. So it just, and you know what? He realized it's okay to, and he's always been a good singles and doubles hitter.
Yes.
But he also is taken it to another level. If I don't throw on time, I can't make that throw. Throw it away, do it. And the ego and the pride's one thing, but he's always known the big picture that my football team's better. And when I heard him be interviewed by CBS and said, let's make no mistakes about this, this is our defense's team.
Right.
And we just got to do our job. And I still see an 18-25, 222-yard game. And that's okay, as long as it's not being thrown to the other team. If they can handle the early onslaught of Carolina, Seattle couldn't, Arizona couldn't.
Right.
If they can handle the early onslaught, and we're talking late in the second quarter, and it's 17-13, 13-10.
Right.
The Carolina Panthers, all the celebrating and talking and laughing, that may be diminishing. That fun. You know, you're having fun when things are going good.
Sure.
If he gets challenged early, if Carolina gets challenged early in this game, we could be in for it. I know that the smartness of Peyton Manning will keep them in the right play.
Okay, I'm old. I admit that. I moved to Denver in 1983, and this guy, John Elway, comes to town.
I heard of him.
Yeah. He's 6'3" and maybe about 220. And he was too big and he was too fast. But now you look at Cam Newton, and he's what? He's 6'6", 250, 260. Where is this position going, dude?
You know what, Mark? What's interesting, too, when I came into, I was like the first one of the big guys. I was like 6'5", 235.
Right.
And you're like, man, our quarterbacks are monsters. And then it started to grow. Heck, even to the other positions. I was interviewing Brandon Marshall the other. He's my size, about 230. I mean, I'm like, and they're running 4.4. I'm like, what?
Yes.
It's just wrong.
How's that possible?
Yes.
It's
a quarterback position. Here's what I do laugh at when people are talking about Newton or Paxton Lynch, or Brock.
Yeah.
We're saying, oh, man, with Cam Newton, I said, the game's going to change now because this is what we're going to. They don't just fall off a turnip truck and land in the league at 6'6", 260, and don't kid yourself. He's an M&M away from 260. He's not 230.
No.
He's an outside linebacker that runs like a wide receiver and has now transformed his game from being an athlete, then quarterback to quarterback. Oh, by the way, he's an athlete. So I don't know where it's going. I don't know if we have a whole bunch of Cam Newton types packs where they just, I'm going to take LeBron James and make him a quarterback, you know. But guys like this, people start to look around and say, well, man. But then again, we go back. Donovan McNabb was elusive and a pretty big guy, but not that big. So, Mark, I don't know where it's going. It takes the guts of a team to draft and develop a guy, but this this kid in Carolina is unique because he's become a more patient quarterback.
Okay. I know you work with Yahoo Sports Radio.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that, and where else can we catch you?
You can catch me. I'm at Sean Unfiltered on Twitter.
Okay.
You can catch me. Hopefully TV's next again. It's time for me to get back into TV. But,
look at this face.
Yeah, we call it the moneymaker, but people are saying throwing tomatoes at the TV. I do ESPN in Houston, 12 to 2 local radio show. That's called Unfiltered. It's Sean and John Unfiltered.
Yeah.
And you can find that on, go on the website, ESPN975.com. And then Yahoo Sports Radio is the national show 3 to 7 Central Time.
Okay.
Both those shows are Monday through Friday.
Okay. Before I let you go, I got to ask you a Texas-related question. What the heck are we going to do with Johnny Manziel? Or what the heck is what the heck can he do?
When you hit rock bottom, I've been there.
Yeah.
It's either a trampoline or quicksand.
Okay.
And then you got to recognize it. I talked to Ryan Leaf earlier. He's been through the same thing that Johnny's basically going through.
Right.
You know what, Sandy? You know what, Mark, is I don't know if he loves football. I don't know if I think he likes being a celebrity more than he does a football player. But when you're the biggest clown at Ringling Brothers Circus, you better be really good on the field. And he's not really good on the field. So to me, I'm always up for second and third chances, Mark. I am.
Right.
But until you're willing to help yourself and quit,
to take advantage of that chance.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's millions of one. He'll make some plays. He's a lightning rod. But it just continues. And it's almost like he wants to defy you until you say, well, I'm not going to sign. I'm not bringing in. But what he's done even in the last 2 weeks, it's turned a bunch of people said maybe, saying, no, you got a lot to prove to me. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole because I think he's an average quarterback, and off the field he's got the IQ of a dog on 2x4 right now. But I still root for him. I do,
of course,
because my kid goes to A&M. I loved him in college. But just because you're special on Saturday doesn't make you. I was good in high school. I ain't been good since. So that special goes away unless you understand what your day job is.
Can I make just one request?
Yes.
Don't ever get a filter, all right?
That's never coming. Hey, you know what? I got to toe that line all the time, Mark. I'm honored to be on with you. Been a fan for a long time. Thank you. Appreciate it.
This is the sports show, and this is our final moment. We want to thank everybody involved. Dane and Madison, John, Eric, Don, Vince. Our staff has been the best and hardest working throughout this week, and I hope you've been able to enjoy what we've done with them acquiring at least 100 guests that we've had, with all the technical crew and the great job they have. And I'm just, we got to mention Nikki and Patrick and Mark Kiszla, of course, and Mark, all the help he gave us, and everybody, Dan Boniface, and all the people from the Denver Post who have cooperated with us on the Denver Post Sports Show. And I want to run through the sponsors and thank them, our great sponsors. New York Daily News. If you're looking for a deli, you're looking for a great restaurant, Southeast, you can go from Northwest to Southeast. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. If you have a sexual issue or a health issue, incredible place to go. Elway Steakhouse in Cherry Creek. There is no better. Kaufman Big and Tall Men's Shop. I've been wearing their shirts all week. I've known Sam Kaufman since he was a kid, and I started shopping there in the 1970s. I hope you'll go out to Kaufman's. Hacienda, Colorado, by far the best Mexican restaurant in Denver. A class above, as far as I'm concerned. Greatest margaritas in Denver. Citywide Banks, longtime sponsor of us. We believe in them. They believe in us. I hope you'll try to believe in them, too, because you'll find Citywide a great Colorado, family-owned, Colorado-focused bank. Papa John's, who has been a sponsor from the very beginning. We had Papa John here with us yesterday. Silterhard Motors in Broomfield. If you're looking for a car in the Ford family, if you're looking for a Maserati, an Aston Martin, a Jaguar, if you just want to go out there and enjoy your time with them, great people. Butts Bar in Sedalia. My friends out there, offer you the best cheeseburger in town. I defy you. If you go out there and you don't think that's the best cheeseburger you've had in Denver, you call me and I'll pay for it. Denver Mattress, the official mattress of the Denver Broncos, the official mattress of the sports show. For all the people who've worked behind the scenes and in front of the camera during the week, I'm the least important part of it, but I've enjoyed being with you. Hope you'll watch the show on DenverPost.com, DPTV, WoodyPage.com, Facebook, iTunes, YouTube. You've been great for us. The responses have been incredible. We want to thank Taya, who has run our social media during the week, and congratulations on her new twins. We want to thank all our guests, from Jake Plummer to Derek Carr to Phil Simms, some of the greatest quarterbacks who've ever played the game, and a lot of the other players and officials in football, entertainment. It's been a great week for us. Enjoy the weekend. I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. I hope the team you want and like wins the game. But more importantly, let's hope it's a great game and a wonderful weekend. I'm Woody Paige saying goodbye from the Sports Bowl and the Super Bowl and the Media Center and from San Francisco. Have a great weekend.